6 sessions to go, 250 marks at stake. Like in ethics, we had 15 sessions to go and 250 marks at stake. In the similar manner, 6 sessions, 250 marks, 500 marks at stake. Ooh, so that's something too much, right? It's like competent to that of a full optional paper. It is competent to that of 2 GS papers comprising of some 8 odd subjects of paper 1 and paper 2, right? So quite sizable in terms of marks when we are speaking of it. So I'm going to create a lot of segments associated with this dimension of essay technology. So the voice is pretty clear, Nikki, for everyone. I think you need to refresh. Okay, so good evening, everyone. All those people who have wished and have joined, I'm good. Thank you, Sachin. So, like a warm welcome to all of you once again. So my video is not full. Oh yes, because I'm continuing with the last day session, no, like the way on essay, like if you remember. So on the essay day we were like ethics, the last session of ethics, I was playing magic. So I thought that today also when I'm joining in the session, so I'll continue with the magic partially. Okay, so that's why you can't see me full. That's the reason. Okay, so is social issue a prerequisite for essay? That way, I mean, if for ethics also it can be said that it is a prerequisite. Well, all subjects are a prerequisite. They build your basics, isn't it? So when all subjects are building the basics, a comprehensive understanding of all disciplines is required for this. Okay, so I hope you're understanding. I'm good, Thota. Thank you. And Gulam, I'm fine. Thanks a lot. So, when we are like heading to this given subsegment of essay technology, we are going to like reflect upon a lot of other dimensions. Oh, I'm much better. Thank you, Santosh. Those days it was like morning session. I am not a morning person. So getting up at 4:15 for ethics class was probably one of the most tedious tasks of this year. But and at that time I was really like tired. Now I'm like much relaxed. Like barely 1 or 2 sessions. So today it is 2 sessions and tomorrow also, but Thursday I'll just have 1 session, your session. That's it. Monday also. So like it's relatively relaxed, my way of teaching. All right. So with respect to this, as we are going to uh, like gain some insight pertaining to the essay technology, you'll realize that all the wisdom you gain from GS is something associated with like your wholesome preparation, and the wisdom you gain from all papers of GS is something which is poured in essay. All right, thank you. Thank you for your kind words, Gulam, Jitu, all you people. Thanks a lot. Now, when we are moving ahead, oh, Janvi, my health is perfectly fine. Thanks. Okay. So, as we are going to step into this component of essay technology today, now you might be surprised seeing this term technology, that why is ma'am using the term technology? Right, the term technology. Technology, all the BTech students, what is the meaning of technology? Yes. What is the meaning of technology? What do you interpret and understand by the word technology? So, are you taking classes of social issues? Not right now. I have taken it in the last batch, but like last to last batch. Presently, because of like, time balance management and all that, we are a team. Like, we are a team of like I would say faculty members or professors who are taking up different subjects, and we have our areas of specialization. So suppose if I'm not available, there'll be someone else is not available, then I would be there. So we always create that flexibility. So no one should feel that possibility of losing out. Okay, everything is duly taken care of qualitatively. Okay, good, Jitu. So you are coming up with the answer. Ravi is also coming up with answer. Sahil is also saying, so advancement in work, something which makes the task easier. It is to ease the process. Okay, all right. Art of doing something. All right. Technology can be the latest update which makes things easier. All right. Logi, coming from the word logos, if we speak of it. Logos means systematic study. So, systematic study, or we can consider scientific study, right? So, systematic study or scientific study, right? So, with respect to this, when we are reflecting upon the term like the essay technology, and when we are discussing about the same, we all can see that when we use the term technology, so it is associated technology when we speak of it simplified methods and techniques. So specific methods and techniques which help us to systematically or scientifically understand and create an essay. That is essay technology. So, a set of methods and techniques which I'll be discussing with all of you with scientific precision by following micro analysis of those steps, we will be understanding how to build an essay. That's the reason why I have, I've created this session with this given terminology, the essay technology. That's the logic. So, essay, if we look like the root word associated with it, it is coming from the Latin word exagium, that is literally presenting one's case. Presenting one's case. When we are trying to build upon our sense of insight, our sense of understanding related to a specific topic, that is something which is associated with the term essay. When we are like explaining what we believe in, what we understand, what we can possibly create when we discuss about it. So, essay, when we are reflecting upon this given term, this Latin term, we all can understand that it is associated with presenting our viewpoint, our sense of understanding. Yes, Pragati, you can deal with it even without completing all GS subjects. You will gain the wisdom of other GS subjects bit by bit, which will further enrich your essay. But it's not that the essay needs to be the last topic. There have been times, even at offline centers, that I have started a session, started a batch with essay. Okay, because you can always give tricks, tips, and techniques how to build the content and anything and everything that you are studying in GS, how to not only see it from GS perspective, but also from the essay perspective. Okay, so you can be just confident about it. And yes, Syed, this is we can consider this is the first session related to essay, right? Now, so when we are discussing about this given component associated with essay writing, we all can understand that when it is associated with presenting our own case, it is associated with like writing our viewpoint, our understanding, our perspective, right? It is going to create a lot of we can say meaningful interventions related to what we are able to substantiate with respect to a given topic, a matter of concern. So it is a short piece of writing which is representing your idea of argumentation of the topic, along with the argumentation your experiences, along with experiences your anecdotes, okay, your thought process, your ideologies, everything at all. It is representing at all. Through essay, an examiner is able to do personality analysis, personality, we can say reflection and reading. Okay, so as we are heading to our sense of understanding towards essay, let us first and foremost reflect upon the UPSC syllabus. So this is the UPSC syllabus that is discussing about how an essay ought to be written. Okay, high meaning vocabulary is necessary. No, Santosh, not really. I'll be talking about language exclusively, what kind of language is needed, and how you can systematically build upon your language skills effortlessly, bit by bit, while studying GS. We'll be discussing about that, Santosh. Okay, so don't worry. That's something which I wanted to create in ethics class, but it's just that due to dearth of time, because there were so many topics to be discussed, like essay is there. I'll explain it then. So I will be discussing how to consolidate words of wisdom, critical reflection points, how to build upon vocabulary bit by bit, and what do we imply by the vocabulary associated with essay. What is the standard vocabulary expected in essay? We'll be talking about it. Sneha, I discussed it towards the beginning of the session. There'll be 6 sessions associated with essay writing. Step by step, we'll be discussing about the segments. The initial 2 sessions, I'll be focusing on building your basics related to essay writing. Then I'll be discussing about the component of debatable essays, what are they and how to deal with them. I'll be also discussing about philosophical essays, how to go ahead with content building. I'll be discussing about how to evaluate your essays, what sources to use, and towards the end, we will work on building the content of a specific essay. I'll choose this time preferably a philosophical topic, because UPSC is focusing on philosophical topics. It's like dominating the given area. So we'll be discussing about that. How do we reflect? It's like asking a question of ethics chapter 13 okay, or the 13th day lecture on the first day. Okay, that's the kind of question that you have raised, Bhavna. So the answer is patience. So the moment you develop patience, bit by bit, session after session, you learn how to reflect. All right. Now, so in limited time, interpretation and choosing is very hard. We'll be discussing about that also, Kishan. How to choose a topic. Everything is like micromanaged. That's why it's called essay technology. So trust the process, breathe and live. As you are like living it, you'll understand that the way you had a sense of ambiguity and confusion towards ethics, because it is a very abstract area. If you are unable to like understand the technicalities and micro dimensions of it, it is an abstract area. In the similar manner, essay also looks abstract, but if micro dimensions are well understood and every dimension is well built, this can also be prepared more thoroughly. All right, so just trust the process, live it. This is what I can say. So please help Nitya, like SME, just write it out to her because she can't see or hear. So ethics case study is somewhat similar. No, ethics case studies can work as anecdotes or short stories as an introduction to essay. Nothing beyond that, and not necessarily to be picked or used. That's also there, right? Now, so with respect to this, when we are seeing the expectation of the examiner, what is the examiner expecting from us? You can see it's written, candidates may be required to write essays on multiple topics. Why the word may is given? Because 2013 is an exception year. And in this exception year, what UPSC did was it only asked one section. Okay, there was only one section. Okay, section, that is only one section. And in only one section, what did they do? They asked A, B, C, D, and what was expected to be written? One essay, and that was up to 2500 words. Okay, so this is what was something that was created by UPSC. That's why the term may is written, that UPSC can revert to any given possibility. What is the present trend? So 2014 to 2022, the trend is, there is section A having 4 topics, then there is section B having 4 topics, and from each you have to choose one. The value of each essay will be 125 marks. Right? So this is what has to be dealt with in today's time. This is what UPSC has created as a present trend, but it does not mean that this is the trend it will sustain. There was a time in early 1990s, UPSC used to ask 3 essays, section A, B and C, and 3 questions from each section. Later on, UPSC did away with it. Between 2001 to 2012, you will see that UPSC was asking like section A, section B, but rather than 4 options, there used to be 3 options. From 3 options, one had to be chosen. So UPSC has been like, flipping and playing with the possibility of what can be asked and how it can be asked. Anyway, present trend is this that I have shared with all of you. All right. Now, with respect to this, when we are discussing about the word limit, you can find that the present word limit is 1000 to 1200 words. So there is a flexibility to create because the examiner is able to understand this given possibility that there can be a fluidity in what you write. So fixing the word that write in 1100 words or 1200 words can be tricky. The examiner is not giving up to because this up to was creating a problem. In the year 2013, what students did was that they ended up writing 1700 words, 1600 words, even toppers unable to write 2500 words. So students, they wrote an essay of 1700 words, like 1600 words, and it could not be penalized because up to 2500 means max to 2500. So no one could have like given negative marks. So now they have given a flexibility, a fluidity associated with this, that how many words ought to be taken care of. So you cannot go less than 2400, means the previous order which students had done in the mains exam in 2013. You cannot practice that, like you are writing less than 2000 words. So at least 2000 words, and on a high side 2400 words. That's what is given. How to stick to this scalability, we'll be discussing about that also little later. All right. So if has given two sections, so maybe different demands, we'll talk about it. What is the demand? You'll see the question, you'll get an idea. There is same marks, with respect to this given segment. So different demand is associated with difference in topic. But in the end of the day, the purpose is to evaluate your personality, whether it is bureaucratic in inclination and nature or not. All right. So with respect to this, when we are discussing about this given segment, we will be speaking about, see, no one is calculating the word limit, Yash. I'll be discussing about this again later. No one is calculating the word limit. What is exactly done is that on an average, we sense how many words you write in a specific line. Like, let's say this is a page that you are using, and like, let's say there are 4 margins that are taken out. So we sense that a student can write like 5 or 6 words or 4 words as per the size of the handwriting. Then how many lines have been filled, whether it is like, let's say 12 lines or 14 lines or 16 lines. And then we create a standard practice that in a page, tentatively a child is writing this much. Okay, so like, let's say if a child is writing, like, let me give a possibility of a child writing 5 words. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5. So 5 multiplied by 12 will make that a child is writing 60 words. Okay, if the child is writing 14, then maybe the child is writing 70 words per page. If 16, then the child is writing 18 words per page. We get an idea. In the next page, if suppose the child is like writing too compact, we'll understand 10-20 words have increased. If it is too relaxed, or like, let's say the para has got over and the child did not fill last 2-3 lines and move to another page, then we'll sense that this is like 20-30 words lesser or 10 words lesser, depending on the number of missing lines. So no one is calculating or counting every single word. No one is calculating or counting every single word. We have a tentative idea that how many words you're writing. There are students, you will see in the selected candidates copies, there are students who write too dense. So in one page they can fit in 100 words, and that doesn't matter. Till the time handwriting is legible, we sense that okay, this child has a tendency to fit in 100 words. So you don't have to get bogged down that, oh my god, I have to write X number of pages. No, not really. For different students, it can be a different reality. With a more compact handwriting, you will take lesser pages. With more broad handwriting, bigger handwriting, spaced out handwriting, you will take more number of pages. So the fight is not over pages. The fight is over the word limit, and a tentative understanding to the word limit is created. Suppose someone has written something like 980. No one can calculate it. No one is going to calculate and read and count every single word. No, you can be relaxed. Is like words like is, am, are, it, calculated or counted? Yes. Every single word has a distinct meaning. Every single word can be calculated or counted. Again, if someone is writing like, let's say 11, like, let's say or rather 12 20, no one can catch hold of the student also. So the possibility is not in 20. If you're writing 50 or 70 words extra, one full page or one fat para will be distinct. So you can sense that, oh, maybe the word limit has been crossed, or maybe it is lesser in word limit. That's how you can sense. But as an examiner, you are focusing more over on the content. And as a student, this is how you have to follow. So a tentative understanding of every page, in every page, how many words you have to fit in, you just need to understand that. Okay. So no one is going to calculate these kind of slipshots associated with 980 words or 1220 words. The slipshot will be visible only if it is like 950 or less, okay, or if it is like 1220 or more, okay. So if it is more than 1220, then also it will be visible. Means I would say rather 1250 or more, it will be visible, okay. So this is what we can say. So you don't need to bother about calculating words. You have to just understand in one page how many words you have a tendency to fit in, and then accordingly count the number of pages you have to engage with. All right. And how to organize that possibility, we'll be discussing it in greater detail. Okay, we'll be discussing about it in greater detail. Okay. So with respect to this given area, when we are speaking of it, okay, we can build upon the concepts bit by bit, and we can understand the aspiration. So let us look into the segment associated with building the content here. We can see it's written, they will be expected to keep closely to the subject of the essay, and to arrange their ideas in an orderly fashion, to write concisely. Now see the keywords. You can see this, and I hope you can build the insight or understanding. So you are expected to keep closely, to arrange, orderly, and concise. You can see the keywords, right? That means do not meander, do not write things unnecessarily if it is not connected to the topic. Means suppose you like, if I speak of this given possibility, like let's say a student can write 60 words in a page, okay, 12 lines, 5 words per line, 60 words is what a child is creating, or like 12 lines is what a child is creating. So like let's say, going by this given possibility, if I'm giving it divided by 1100, this possibility of 60, so we all can sense that it will be somewhat closer to 17-18 pages, right? So in a broader perspective, like let's say if a child is writing something around 17 pages or 18 pages, okay, so when you know that on a topic you have the intellectual freedom to write 17 to 18 pages, there can be a fair possibility that a student feels like, what I have written in second page or third page, after flipping the words, changing the words, I can rewrite it on like 16th page or 15th page. Who remembers that tendency? Some people have this situation, right? So we need to understand this given possibility, um, of, we can consider, of inauthenticity prevailing, especially when a student understands that there is an intellectual liberty to create a lot. So when I have the intellectual liberty to create a lot, how about the possibility of coming up with an option whereby I am like writing a lot of things, and I am like, I would say, creating a lot of things accordingly. Anyway, so a student has a tendency to, when is running short of content, that student has a tendency to pick anything and everything randomly, twist the tail and like the mouth of it, and fit it according to the topic and just write it down somehow. Now this is something which will be penalized when we are talking about it, okay? So here you have to stick closely to the topic. Do not meander, do not beat around the bush, do not fool around with the examiner's perception. So why a bureaucrat needs to develop this skill of essay writing? Well, Saqib, it is associated with the possibility that suppose if you are writing a government report, then at least the language, the presentation, the insight should be thorough. It should be reflective. It should be based on some critical understanding and analysis. Okay. That there's a possibility that UN has sent a report related to child mortality of your district, and as a response to the report, you, what efforts you have made, how the funds have been used, and what is the future course of action. Suppose you have to prepare a report, if you don't know how to present the content in the flow manner, like in the form of an essay writing possibility, then the report will go haywire. It will not be fluid. One, that's the applied aspect. When we are talking about the inherent aspect, it helps us to understand and analyze the personality of a student, because when you have to write on a topic, you cannot fool around and only write GS like information page after page. Over the pages, there will be a tendency that a student will have an approach of writing what he or she genuinely feels. So personal insights, perceptions, pieces of understanding and wisdom will make a glimpse, it will make an effort, it will be visible when we are speaking of it related to essay writing. So through it, personality evaluation is easier. And this trend you will see after 2017. The same fellow, the guy who cheated, remember 2017 prelims, he cheated, and the 17 mains question paper became very tricky for ethics, I told you, and you saw the case study also of ethics. It was so distinct from all previous year case studies. And 2018 onwards, UPSC started with philosophical essays. It became a big hit for the UPSC evaluators because they could see that a student is struggling to interpret an ethical topic. And despite the fact that ethics, integrity, and aptitude is there in the syllabus, and despite the fact that ethics will play a very important role in terms of he or she being a profound bureaucrat or not. So the possibility of evaluating the skills, the insights of a student from bureaucratic perspective was possible. Means you can write good things in a GS answer, like 2 pages or 4 pages, you can do that. But in essay, when you have to write 18 pages, how long will you write the facts? somewhere you'll write about your personal understanding and reflection, and there is the space and scope for your prejudices, biases, okay, your stereotypes make a glimpse. And the moment they make a glimpse, the examiner can sense that what kind of civil services, like civil servant's personality you bear. Okay, so that's also there. So how he cheated, I had shared that. Bluetooth, his wife was prompting him, answers during prelims. Anyway, so with respect to this, Basaya, be in time in class. When you are in time in class, you will be able to understand things. Because here I had mentioned the word limit per essay. Then I said student to student pages may differ as per the size of handwriting. And then I said if a student is writing 12 word, like we can consider 60 words per page, so 60 words per page, okay, if that is the reality of a student, in that situation, a student might read 17 to 18 pages, right? So that's there. So we can consider, Payal, please write your question again. Your question has got suppressed in all the messages. So please send me the link of website. How can I send the link? SME, please help her. So, or maybe there are two Payals in the class. If there is another Payal asking a question, then you will have to raise the question again. So can we write our opinion? I'll discuss about all of it. Abhijit, let me now get into the core of the approach and content. Flowcharts, no, Santosh, I'll tell you why and how later in do's and don'ts of essay. Does good handwriting? Yes, good handwriting creates a positive impact. Same quality content written by 3 students, the one writing it in a presentable manner definitely has an edge, will get 2 to 5 marks extra, because who doesn't want a pleasing tendency to the eyes? Don't you remember when I was writing too small on the board, you people are like, ma'am, please write big, ma'am, we are struggling with the handwriting, what is this word, what is that word? Ethics, remember? Yeah. So at that time I had to make a conscious effort, and I requested and I got the studio changed, because the previous studio was having a smaller board. So I requested for the bigger board. Now I have the bigger board. So I have more space to create. So that's the role of handwriting. Handwriting creates a more pleasant experience. It is like, soothing to the eyes, and it is for all, everyone. And for senior citizens all the more, because imagine a person who is like in late 50s, wearing glasses, struggling with so many other issues in life. Last thing the person wants is harassment through an answer paper. If the person is struggling to read the answers, then that can be problematic. Okay. See, my handwriting is not beautiful. It's not cursive, but it is legible. If your handwriting is like, some people write like this, like this, like this. Like, for example, I'll tell you, I've come across words like let's say conundrum, someone has to write. And I have come across these kind of expressions like this. So this is also like, I'm telling you, this is much pleasant, this is still legible. But when students are writing like this, so what happens is, it's looking very neat and tidy, but while reading you may get stuck up in words like C, N, M. There are certain specific alphabets. If you are any such student, there's 10% of the students struggle with such problem. Some have real bad handwriting, which is not cursive. Some have cursive handwriting, but it is not distinct with few alphabets like E, C. So if you're one of them, or distinguishing between L and D, so P, okay. So if you're one of those students, identify the alphabets in which you are struggling, and that will also make, like I would say, a difference. All right. So you lose marks writing cursive L-I-J. See, this is how good. All of you are able to understand that what is it that can like work it out. So I've got only 100 marks in first essay. No problem, Nikhil. Just follow the tips which I'm going to share in the next few sessions, and trust me, within a week, your tendency to create more powerful essays shall be as such. And I can say by this Friday itself, you will be in a better position. Like today is Monday, by Friday itself, you will be in a more confident position. I can ensure you that. So In some topics there is a scope for some shloka or poem. Yes, that can be done. Now how about I take up your questions in a short while and start teaching, right? So I'll be like, SME, please support me with these questions which are relatively minuscule, and all these questions will be addressed as the topic will be taught. So if you are ready and open to learn, the queries shall be taken care of. So now I'm going to focus on teaching per se. All right. Now, so when we are discussing about closely, stick closely to the topic. Do not meander and beat around the bush when we are talking about the topic. Arrangement means orderly fashion and arrangement. There should be a flow in the essay. If the essay is like a bunch of independent paragraphs, okay, one para discussing about one idea but not leading to the other, or the second para is not getting connected to the previous one. So if there is lack of flow, that can also be penalizing, because then the possibility of an essay gets affected. In such a situation, think what flow can a flow chart or a diagram or a map can create, because essay is a piece of literature, and when it is a piece of literature, it is supposed to create a flow, we can say a logical corollary as the content is expressed or explained, right? Further, we can see credit will be given for effective and exact expression. What do we imply by the word effective and exact? Effective, I have written, something which is interesting to read, engaging to read. Examiner wants to read more, okay? And also effective things are easy to understand. That means too much of gas vocabulary like Shakespearean English is not needed. Flowery language is not needed. Simple technical language, or in other words, simplified words, I would say NCERT standard 11th, 12th level English is what is needed. Simple, precise, on the spot, relevant language is what is needed for your essay. That is something which is easy to understand. Easy does not mean kiddish. Easy does not mean childlike. Easy here implies that it is formal and yet it is lucid, simple. So formal and simple is what is needed. All right. Again, when we are discussing about it, we all can see it should be an exact expression. Exact means precise, perfect. It should be able to like discuss or bring in the context to quality. It should be able to explain what is needed. It should be able to deliver what is needed. Now, with respect to this, as we are discussing about it, so I have just given how you make the content interesting with stories, examples, facts, comparisons, dimensions, critical analysis, and how do you create ease in reading. So simple language, interlinking sentences and paras, that's how you create ease in expression. So this is your UPSC syllabus. Preferably memorize the key expectations. When you remember the key expectations, you know what all goof ups to avoid. Now, with respect to this given subsegment, when we are starting with it, first and foremost, we let us understand what are the core dimensions of an essay. So as we are reflecting upon the core dimensions of an essay, we can understand it from this perspective. To understand a topic in letter and spirit. So to understand a topic in letter and spirit. Now, my question is, what is letter and what is spirit? Yes, people. What is letter and what is spirit? From this, you need to generate abundant ideas. And from abundant ideas, then you give language to the content. And that's how you are able to justify this. And this is what creates an essay. Yes, people. So, what is letter and what is spirit? Who was it? Was it Vivek talking about, ma'am, use green pen? See, this is how you distinctly remember students. So I'll be using it to explain the word letter and spirit. Letter is literal meaning. Okay, fine. So with respect to this, when we are talking about it, so letter is the literal meaning. Okay. And what is spirit, people? Yes. Rajan, let us focus on the content, because I mean, like, as you are like concerned, that's a possibility that when we are talking about this given dimension, And when we are building upon the topic, we will be fixing 250 marks, and that is more important for all of us. That is like a bigger thing to be on stake right now. So with respect to this, expressing a deeper meaning, okay, deep meaning, soul, all right, spirit is understanding the statement, full meaning, okay, divine meaning, deep meaning, oh gajab, divine be, all right. So with respect to this, the core, the essence, all right, all right, I appreciate all the students who have written a lot of like meanings, the feelings, the thought, the beyond, all right, all right. So letter is the meaning, the literal, the key meaning, spirit is the style, emotion, weather, expectation, okay, all right. So when we are, okay, atma paramatma also, oh my god, all right. So spirit, as you are discussing, that this is the core meaning, okay, this is the hidden meaning. Some people said this is the implicit meaning. It is the soul of the topic. In simple language, I can say it is the relevance of the topic. It is the most important segment of the topic, or the significance of the topic. It is the importance of the topic, right? When we reflect upon it. So when we are discussing about to understand a topic in letter and spirit, when we understand a topic in letter, the literal meaning or the explicit meaning, okay, so then we are able to understand a topic fully. When we understand a topic fully, okay, to understand the in between the lines, okay, in between the lines, so hidden meaning or whatever, all right, okay, the total meaning, all right, agreed, okay. So as all of you are able to understand this given dimension, and when we are reflecting upon the possibility of to generate abundant ideas and what is the dimension associated with abundant ideas, right, let me show what you know and what ought to be known, all right. So prior to this, probably I can add a sheet and we can reflect upon the same over here. So for understanding the dimension of the essay, let me take you to this given topic. 2021, 2020. Okay. So let us reflect upon this 2020 topic. Topic number 7. Patriarchy is the least noticed yet the most significant structure of social inequality. All right. Start developing. What should get into the content of this topic? What do you understand by this topic? What should be written in this topic, people? Yes, male dominant society, all right, okay. You will write meaning of patriarchy, women subjugation. You'll be reflecting it since historical times, okay, so since ancient times, then gender discrimination, gender inequality, historical backlash, women inequality, okay, meaning, history, present trend, Gandhi's quotes, orthodoxy, feminist movement, male chauvinism, gender inequality, importance, patriarchy, explain the importance of roles, okay, about patriarchy in society, okay, male dominance, forms of patriarchy present in different places. What does that mean, Saurabh? I want to know that, okay. Decision making of men, patriarchy, women empowerment, religion, patriarchy, okay, history of patriarchy, inequality in home, inequality in patriarchy at workplace, okay, women practicing it unknowingly, becoming victims. See, why have I given you this topic? You have done social issues, right? So because you have done social issues and you have done role of women, so I think that you can reflect this. But it is not only role of women, the insight that you gain from GS paper, there is something more to it. For social issues, something more that you need is also CSAT comprehension. Anyway, so support of patriarchy, patriarchy in different societies, sati, the core problem of inequality is gender, lastly, the significance with respect to women, hyper masculinity, okay, compare society with other countries, okay, and constitution, male work with females work, compare that, gender disparity, okay, connect it with recent incidents like Manipur violence. It takes more than 130 years to achieve gender equality. Recent reports, we should start taking action. Sati dowry, okay. How about this? Pause, pause, pause. Everyone, now you can pause. How about this idea that I say that none of you is getting close to the spirit of the topic or the soul of the topic? Hmm? Not a single student. So many of you have written and are still writing, from unequal wages to conservatism to wage male dominance, how patriarchy is existing, social justice, merits and demerits, okay, male dominance, intelligible differences. And how about this piece of insight which I'm sharing with all of you, that despite so many dynamics, or we can say possibilities pertaining to this topic that all of you are sharing, I give this insight to all of you that you are unable to reach the core of the topic. Yeah, vicious cycle, women should be treated equally, okay, and there is nothing before the country, nation first policy भी कोई लिख दे रहा है, वाह, तालियां. This is called meandering from the topic, and this is called not sticking to the core of the topic. All right. So patriarchy in our daily life is left unnoticed. Okay. Patriarchy, irrespective of economic cultural status, accept patriarchy. Wife beating, okay, breadwinner, okay, court judgments not allowed into mosque gates, Sabrimala, okay, all of it. Social inequality, many topics. All right, fine, fine, fine. So I gave you a fair play to all of you to write, and like majority of you have written, expressed what you believe with respect to this given topic. And as I gave you this given insight, now, like, just a second. So as I gave you this specific insight related to this given topic, and as I was discussing about this given dimension, that if you don't understand the topic in letter and spirit, you mess up with the meaning. You do not, whatever you might generate, but that will not be abundant ideas. Abundant ideas, even if you are writing multidimensional perspectives, like I'll compare it with India, with other countries. I will quote Mahatma Gandhi, Savitri Bai Phule, I'll quote Constitution, I'll quote this, I'll quote that, and still abundance will not come. Abundance or richness comes only when you understand a topic in letter and spirit. How? See, the topic is saying patriarchy is the least noticed. Everyone is noticing patriarchy, social inequality. What all of you are not noticing is this: least and most significant. Who will notice this? Who will explain this? Now, rather than typing, all of you, focus more. I appreciate, Nitesh, your like thought provoking insights as well as the facts that you are writing, but including you. Everyone needs to understand how you are failing to understand the topic. So, how about going patient, calm, and paying attention to the board? What I explain. Okay, now see, as the topic is suggesting, patriarchy is the least noticed. When do we say least noticed? Suppose a student is there in the class and I say he's the least noticed student. He's the least attentive student. Least means I'm comparing the child with others. So if I'm giving a random statement to all of you that X is the least attentive student, so you will be able to derive that there are other students also present in the class, right? So you are able to derive from the term least, that if the term least is given, that means there are other possibilities also, there are other individuals also, right? So patriarchy is least noticed compared to whom? Compared to whom? Compared to what? Compared to what? If I'm unable to understand this. Anyway, moving further ahead, because we cannot derive it immediately from here, move ahead. Yet the most significant, again, most significant. If I'm saying Y is the most significant performer in the class, that means there are other performers also in the class, other students also in the class. Most significant. Again, there is a comparison. Okay. So most significant, we can see structure of social inequality, right? Most significant structure of social inequality. When we speak of this given possibility, what can we build from this given insight? Most significant structure of social inequality. When we are talking about this, yeah. So most significant, and then we can pay attention to the entire bit. Most significant structure of social inequality. So here we can ask, what are the other structures of social inequality? So one is definitely, we can consider the component of gender. Other than gender, what are the other structures of social inequality? Right? Nitesh, now even if you are writing and you're not paying attention to what I'm explaining, it's a lost cause. Okay, it's a lost cause. So pay attention to what I'm explaining. I appreciate that what you have studied in past 1 year is building your content, but probably something more beyond content is necessary. That is calming down and paying attention. Okay, so calm down and pay attention. You'll start understanding that. Okay. So here, when we are reflecting upon other structures of social inequality, we can see caste, we can see religion, right? We can see class, we can see region, we can see ethnicity, okay, ethnicity, right? So we can see there can be like ethnicity, or probably I can write race also in certain contexts, right? So when we are speaking of this given possibility, ethnicity is associated with language. It is associated with distinct culture. All those students who are writing language, right? So language is a part of ethnicity. Race is biological. Ethnicity is social cultural. And social cultural differences, when we reflect deep into it, when we delve deep into it, what is ethnicity? So ethnicity can be based on those students who don't understand the meaning of ethnicity. So ethnicity can be associated with, we can say, a distinct, we can say distinct language, okay, and or, okay, distinct language and or distinct religion, again, and or distinct, we can say, tribe, tribal identity, or and or distinct race, and or distinct cultural practices. All of it clubbed together, all of it clubbed together creates ethnicity. In various permutation combinations, it creates ethnicity. Okay. So when we are talking about structures of social inequality, it is saying that patriarchy is the least noticed, yet the most significant structure of social inequality. By seeing the word least and most, you should have realized that patriarchy is getting compared. But compared to what is something that had to be derived. So patriarchy is the least noticed. We do not notice patriarchy. Okay, but it becomes the most significant structure of social inequality. Means there are different structures of social inequality, and when we discuss these structures of social inequality, amongst these structures the component of gender is generally ignored, is generally ignored. It generally goes unnoticed, but it becomes the most significant structure amongst all of them, because now here is the logic. Because you'll see in Western countries, in the name of racial violence, women have been targeted in the past, raped and butchered. In ethnic violence, as you saw in recently happening in Manipur, what happened was just this thing. Cookies, when they were like fighting with Meiteis, or any two communities in India, two religion, two, we can say, caste groups, whenever they fight, so caste, religion, region, ethnicity, whenever there is any kind of fight going on, women get targeted. And no one says that in the name of, okay, in the name of ethnic violence, it is gender inequality which is exercised. It is patriarchy which is exercised. In the name of caste violence, it is gender inequality that has got exercised in the name of, we can say, religious riots. It is like a gender inequality that has got exercised in the name of class based violence, rich exploiting the poor. They are targeting the women. Okay, so gender inequality has got exercised, right? Think about it. Think about it. This is what the core of the topic is. This is what the demand of the topic is. You write about definition of patriarchy, types of gender inequality, methods of women empowerment, how to empower the women, what government schemes have been taken up, what kind of interventions have been taken up, what was the status of women earlier, what is the status of women right now, what was the level of education earlier, what is the level of education all right now. Gas and garbage. Gas and garbage, not suiting the demand of the topic. Okay, I hope all of you are first going to experience this eye-opening possibility related to the first thing I'm teaching you, related to essay writing, and that is to understand a topic in letter and spirit. When you fail to understand a topic in letter and spirit, what you write is just gas, and that gas is equivalent to garbage. Because everything is there, but abundance is not there, richness is not there, completeness is not there. Now, so with respect to this, when we are moving ahead, when I speak of the word abundance, what I imply is here richness, completeness. And this idea of richness and completeness happens only when you understand a topic in letter and spirit. Letter means paying attention to every single word, even the smallest possible word. When you understand the words, then you interpret the words. When you interpret the words, you get closer to the spirit. And when you get closer to the spirit, what you generate is rich, abundant, wholesome. Okay? So, wholesome ideas. It's possible that you are writing multidimensional as you were creating related to the topic of patriarchy. Okay? So, multidimensionality is also a byproduct. But remember, multidimensionality is not necessarily richness. They can be different. You were creating multidimensional ideas, points, but it was not relevant. So, multidimensionality with relevance is something which will create abundance, right? So, are you understanding that? Basically, XY, you are equalizing patriarchy as social inequality. No, not only that. You are not paying attention to smaller words like least, most, as if they don't hold any meaning, as if they do not have any, like I would say, importance. See this. Suppose if I give you a topic like education, colon, as it should be. So majority of the students will have a tendency, if I won't have explained this component of patriarchy topic. So majority of the students would have started writing anything and everything they know about education. But now you will pay attention to the word should. Education as, comparing it is for education. So education as it should be, the aspiration for education. Pay attention to this. If I write education as it can be, can is capability, means what capability is missing or what capability ought to be there. Education as it would be, distant future and its possibility, not immediate future or distant future and its possibility. Education as it would be. Education as it might be, choice, a possibility that can happen or may not happen. Education as it was, education as it is. And with the change in every, we can say, helping verb, we can see that the meaning and aspiration of the topic also changes, right? The content changes. The dimensions you develop also changes. Ageism can lead to social inequality, but it was not fitting in the game, Kanisha. So we will not, as I told, कान पूछ पकड़ के हर चीज को नहीं घुसाना है. जो चीज बिल्कुल spot on logical lage wahi dalenge. So anything which is spot on logical, anything which is making a rhythm, that is something which has to be consolidated. All right, so that's what. Should and can same, no, there is, we can consider should and can have different aspiration. I can go to school, I should go to school. I can is capability, I can go to school as a teacher, as a parent, as a mentor, anything. I should go to school, it is a moral obligation. Understood, Gulam? So the meaning does change. So much schemes related to women empowerment. Still, the issue is of Sarpanch Pati. That encourages the question that uh, is no women empowerment happening? Um, when a woman gets elected on the compulsory seat, and despite the Sarpanch Pati or Sarpanch Pita being there, is there really no women empowerment happening? Mhm. Okay. So should and must are the same. Should is a moral obligation. Must is like more overt, more clear. Anyway, so I think all of you are getting some basic understanding pertaining to the game of this interpretation, right? So as you are understanding this given possibility, it guides me to the next segment, that is the dimensions of an essay, how we can guide or we can create. But prior to that, maybe I should also elaborate something more. What kind of language do you need? Yes, people. What kind of language do you need according to you? Yes. What kind of language do you need? Okay. So NCRT formal, legible, simple. Okay. So formal, simple is what is dominating the game. So NCRT like language that I had said. Okay. So simple is clear, it is lucid. Something else, understand, effective. Okay, effective, I appreciate that. So effective. Okay, topic related. Okay, yes, that's there. It should be precise, very good. It should be precise. Mhm. All right. No, not colloquial. Sorry to say that, Anurag. Colloquial will bring negative marks. Okay. So language which doesn't hurt the ego of evaluator. Probably the ego of the evaluator is too extreme an expression. Why will the evaluator have an ego while reading the copy? And that too, exercising an ego with a student half the age. I mean, that's not an empowered person. Okay. It should not hurt the larger sentiments of moral conscience, human values, and the constitution. Okay. If those things are untouched, okay, then why will the evaluator get affected? So, and if you call that as ego, that will be an incorrect expression. Okay. Free from grammatical error. Okay. Free from grammatical error, or like we can say grammatical, or we can spelling related errors. Okay. Less jargon, sensitive. Okay, yes, very good, very good. Someone is saying sensitive. Okay. Let me ask something little distinct, just a quick revision. I think all of you can just recall. Okay, someone is saying unbiased. Very good. Okay, so let me ask something, just a quick, we can say, possibility of recalling the segment. Um, just creating a divide. What were the values related to civil servants? Yeah. What were the values required for civil services, people? Okay. All right. So, compassion, integrity, honesty, openness, transparency. All right. All right. Something more? Something more? So, civil servant, when we are connecting the values, so empathy and compassion. And along with that, you people are talking about integrity. So integrity is highest form of honesty. So I'm not writing honesty presently. Accountability. Along with accountability, we can also reflect upon, I would say, the impartiality, non-partisanship. Okay, what else other than that? Impartiality, non-partisanship. There was also tolerance, if you remember, right? So, tolerance. Yeah, something else that all of you can recall? Yes. Emotional intelligence. Yes. Humanity. The humanity is in compassion, right? So, dedication. Very good. So, dedication. All right. Very good. So, selflessness. Yes. Selflessness. Something more? Can we consider disciplined? Yeah. Okay. Loyalty. Can we consider disciplined? Yeah. So, disciplined. A disciplined person is the one who can be dedicated also. Anyway, something more? Okay. Patriotism. All right. Secular is like tolerance. So, okay. So, emotional intelligence. We can say the person needs to be secular, objective. Very good. I appreciate. So, objective approach, a rational, formal approach. All right, all right. So, we can keep adding all those possibilities. Now, what kind of language do we need? We need a civil servant's language. Let us break the barriers, right? So, when we are speaking of the language, not only the language should be clear, precise, or all those terms that you are considering, it should be a language which is able to communicate this to the examiner that yes, the person is committed to the civil services values, committed to the constitution, is the person who is like, motivated by patriotism, is a disciplined person, has high level of emotional intelligence. From your language, you should be able to communicate that you're a sensitive or a compassionate person, you're unbiased, or you're a person exercising impartiality and non-partisanship. Yes, diligence, all of it. So I hope all of you can see this, right? Accountable or responsive. Yeah. So when we are talking about this component of dimensions of an essay, this is how you connect with the given idea. This is how you are able to associate with the basic concepts when we are discussing about the same. So civil servant, when we are talking about a civil servant's language, this is how you are able to like build. And this is what you need to develop. If anyone is thinking that, oh, how to develop a civil servant's language, so these are the qualities that you need to incorporate in your writing. In your writing, these are the perspectives that should make a sneak peek or a meaningful glimpse, right? So I hope all of you are like getting some idea, right? Seems like that the topic, we knew the wound which is most significant, but we are not curing the that regards patriarchy. Okay. Yes, Kishan. One more thing, which all of you must have realized with the reflection of this given topic when we were discussing about the given segment related to patriarchy. I think all of you must have realized the importance of CSAT comprehension. When comprehension goes damaged, this is what I say, that when comprehension goes damaged, I mean, maths is not going to carry forward in mains. No one is going to ask a single question of maths in mains or interview. But CSAT comprehension, if you mess up with it, if you fail to interpret the language of a given para clearly, it is going to impact essay of 125 marks. It is going to impact the interpretation of GS questions, whether paper 1, 2, 3 or 4. It can mess up the question related to optional as well. Today only I was just discussing this given segment related to one of the questions in sociology. We were discussing about caste system and I raised like 2-3 questions. So there was one question which was associated with how far have we adopted or moved ahead, how have we moved from the Gandhian method to Ambedkar's method in emancipation of untouchability and like caste system, something like that. So students, they started imagining, speaking, ma'am, what was the Gandhian approach? From Gandhian approach, what is the Ambedkar's approach? I kept listening. Then I said that, what is the helping verb that is used? Is it written, how had people moved ahead from Gandhian to Ambedkar's approach, or how is it written, how have we? Means earlier people were following the Gandhian methods or approaches of how to, like, emancipate the lower caste groups. But how from Gandhian approaches and methods we are slowly and steadily moving to Ambedkar's approach. So focus is not on Gandhi and Ambedkar, the focus is on the approach and shift in the approach. How the approach earlier, which was Gandhian, is now more associated with Ambedkar's approach that people follow in their social reforms, political reforms, raising their voice, or exercising change at ground level. So the question is related to how the approach has changed in present times. It's not associated with Gandhi or Ambedkar per se. And then, yes, ma'am, I'm like, this is what happens. That's why it is essential to fail the students in CSAT with respect to comprehension. Because if a child cannot interpret a para properly, will not be able to interpret the GS questions and optional questions and essay topics properly. You will devastate, you'll like, blast off the possibility. And truth is, this question which I shared with all of you, the Gandhian approach to Ambedkar's approach, can be asked in GS Indian society, can be asked in history, contemporary modern history, because Gandhi and Ambedkar is a part of your modern history, and post-independence history also discusses about their approach. So why not? Getting it? That's why it brought this question up, because in the end of the day, it is historians, sociologists, geographers writing your question paper 1. GS paper 1 is created by them, not by coaching teachers teaching only GS. Experts, academicians, experts of that discipline. In GS, they will mellow down the tone and they will bring the question in a generalized temperament. In optional, they will bring in thinkers, their perspectives. That's the difference. But geographer is making GS geography question. Historian is making history question. Similarly, sociologist is making Indian society questions. So that's what is needed. If you fail to interpret the language powerfully, this question could have been asked in GS, not only in optional. If you fail to interpret the questions properly, you can mess it up in GS as well as essay, anywhere. Learn to interpret language. Pay attention to even the smallest possible word and the impact it can have on generating content. Through essay, this essay writing program that we are like dealing with, I will make you aware and alert to the possibilities of language and how the dynamics of language unfolds the possibility or the realms of learning for all of us. Okay? Means based to ends based. Gandhian approach, is it so? Probably you need to read something more. I mean, means and ends, that's there. Like, see, but generalizing again the same possibility related to Gandhi. Gandhi always had means based approach. Oh, in general, he had means based approach. But towards ideologies, there can be a means based or ends based. For example, socialism for Gandhi was not a means based approach, it was end. End means goal. The state was supposed to achieve the goal of socialism for Gandhi. So for Gandhi, socialism was an ends-based approach, right? But Gandhi, for bringing in freedom, he wanted to exercise ahimsa. So ahimsa was a means-based approach, focusing on the means as much as the ends. So this so-called teleology and deontology is also based on reference on which topic we are talking about. Profound insights dawning upon you, suddenly you must be feeling a notch more matured, a notch above how you have been witnessing language, words, segments. Okay. How can I interpret language for essay? Saqib, with practice. That's the answer. Practice. The more you practice, the greater your clarity dawns upon you. Specific dimension. So, we are not discussing about Gandhi and about Ambedkar, so I'm not going to indulge in the answer of it per se. Okay, so you will get a clarity regarding this bit by bit when you are reading about them. So you have shared a revision strategy during ethics class. Yeah, that will be very helpful if you are going ahead with that. I'm glad to know, Kaushik, that you are following it and it's creating an impact. So that's there. I mean, it's not that after that specific method, everything will be known to you. There will be pockets whereby you'll see that, oh, memory is not working, but it will be far profound an approach of studying and recreating than the previous method of reading it once and leaving it forever. It's not a way of a profound aspirant. Now, so with respect to this, when we are reflecting upon the same, I'll discuss how you develop your ability of understanding a sentence, interpreting a sentence to the core soon. Okay. So with respect to this, when we are substantiating the content, let us get into the game further. So here in dimensions of essay, when you are developing a clarity to the core, that is to understand a topic in letter and spirit, this is the first step. Then you go for generating abundant ideas, and third, you need to work on language. Yes, language needs to be grammatically correct, spelling wise correct, formal yet simple, effective and precise, and loaded with these qualities of civil services values, that is put to test, right? So, as we are moving further ahead, we can now understand the various steps or sub segments or dimensions of essay which needs to be built accordingly. In this, first and foremost, we can talk about choosing a topic. That's the first step. The second step is idea generation. The third step we can talk about, okay, idea generation can be two parts: brainstorming and brain mapping. Then we can think of the possibility associated with conceptualizing the introduction. Then we can talk about conceptualizing the conclusion. Then we can talk about writing the formal draft. No. Writing the formal draft से पहले organization भी तो need to organize the content. Organizing the content. Then we can reflect upon writing the final draft of the essay. Now, seventh is we can consider polishing the essay. So, polishing the essay. And then, last but not the least, 2 minutes to calm down, relax, and detach. As I told you, I will be indulging in a micro analysis of essay, because that's why this is called essay technology. So the technology aspect will be played at every single level. So my first sense of building your understanding with respect to this. Are you people holding sheets of paper in front of you, or any register or anything as such? If you have any such register, first I want to give a physical experience of this area, what we are going to create. So as majority of you are acknowledging that yes, you are having some register or some possibilities related to it. Pulkit, I'll be discussing it little later. That's a part of introduction, so you will understand it. So as all of you are having a piece of register, you need to understand that you will have an A4 size paper in the exam. Okay, so in the A4 size paper, as you will be working on the mid part of this, you will be understanding that like how many words you will be writing. All of you are aware of your handwriting. You know how many words you write in one line, and henceforth how many lines you fill in. Majority of you fill in like 14 lines or so, so you can consider 70 words per page. Few of you writes like 50 or 60 words, so you can consider accordingly. Now what I expect from all of you is like you can just pick the page, okay, and someone can be having 100 words, that's perfectly all right. So now start turning the page, keep holding one page, the first page, and start turning. Okay, so this is like one side, one page, second side, second page, third side, third page, turn it, 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, then 10, then 11. Those students who can fit in 100 or 110 words in a page, you are going to write 11 pages. Okay, students who are writing 80 words, so keep turning. After 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is the amount that you are going to fit in, students with 80 pages or so. Students who are fitting in 70 words or 60 words, keep turning further, 16, 17, or even 18. Hold the bunch of pages. And after holding the bunch of pages, okay, first identify the physicality of this exam. These are the number of pages you are going to fill related to one essay. One essay. These many number of pages. Check the thickness, feel the thickness, touch the thickness. And these are the number of pages you are going to like fill in. You are going to fill in twice the size. 2 essays have to be created. None of the papers in GS or optional is exposing you to this game. In optional also, majority of the questions are 10 marker or 20 marker. 10 marker, 150 words. 20 marker, word limit is not given, but you expect it to be 300 words. So in GS also, 4 papers, 150 words or 250 words. That's what is given. So you and your brain is trained to write in 2 pages, like 150 words. So 1.5 page, somewhat. For few people, it can be 2 pages. 2, 3.5 or 4 pages. That's what is your truth. Any topic you are studying, any topic you are preparing, any topic about which the understanding is getting developed, you are developing a skill, a knack to write within 2 pages to 4 pages. That's it. That's it. Here is an exam. Here is this possibility where you have to write nothing less than like 14 to 18 pages, differing as per your caliber of fitting in the words, right? So this expectation of this area, essay, is very different, very unique, very different, very distinct from what you have created in the past, what you have learned through all GS papers in the past. It needs voracious reading, it needs exhaustive expression, it needs multidimensional reflections, it needs a powerful sense of continuity and flow, whereby a sense of, we can say, like an overview is created. When the examiner is reading, the examiner is like, wow, this was wholesome, this was complete. The way you read an NCERT chapter, and para after para after para, new realms, dimensions, possibilities of the topic keeps getting opened, and towards the end of the chapter, when you complete it, you're like, wow, almost all important areas, segments pertaining to the topic has been discussed in this chapter. Yeah, so that kind of experience is something which you have to create. Okay, yeah, the concerns associated with, we can say, content is something which we'll be discussing, how to build the content, as I'm discussing about this idea generation. Basaiya, with respect to any book list, no, nothing. Focus on GS. GS is your book list. Multiple books you are going to read related to it. Some bedtime books I had discussed in the ethics class that should have been read, which also builds your language, your value system, and enriches the possibility to reflect deeper the concerns of the country, the concerns of humanity, right? So that's what you can consider. With respect to heading, subheading, Sachin, no, subheadings and headings is little immatured until and unless you are able to create some kind of, I would say, interesting segment. Like, for example, if someone is writing a subheading and the person is writing it in this manner that, suppose the person has to give suggestion or solution. So the person is writing, and the silver lining is dot dot dot. So the silver lining is indicative of suggestion. You are underlining it and then you are writing the suggestions. That makes a sense. But generally, heading and subheading breaks the flow. Writing that political and then writing political point. Social, writing social point. What kind of kiddish attitude would be that? That's fine in school days, not at this level. That breaks the flow. Or writing introduction and then writing introduction, conclusion and then writing conclusion. That will be like little kiddish. So refrain from making headings and subheadings. Even writing like point wise, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, what is that? It's not a GS paper. Writing in bullets, writing in stars, no, not needed. Flow is broken. Just few minutes back only I showed you what UPSC is expecting. And when UPSC is expecting, the ideas should be arranged in an orderly fashion. So what is arranging and orderly? That means flow should be there. If flow is missing, then in that situation, marks will be deducted. So you like have to create that flow, and that flow will be created when you are able to understand the wholesomeness of the topic, and then para after para you are opening the dimension whereby one dimension leads to the other, the next dimension to the other. So right now what you must be feeling like with respect to listening to this, what I have explored so far, you are like, oh wow, what ma'am is saying is realistic, it is true, it is relevant to the exam, it is addressing the core issues, but the sense of looming uncertainty, how to reach it, how to understand it, how to achieve that level, how to gain that sense of confidence, how to fill in the gaps which I'm showing, which is existing to your preparation or existing with respect to your content building. And that is something which is going to be the core session after session after session, right? So yeah, I mean, Sachin, if you have like Sachin or any other student who has seen toppers like making heading and subheading, okay, if they are writing political, social, kiddish, the person is not a topper with respect to topper in essay. Please understand. I remember there was one student who like had got 129 in essay, which is not so good marks, but was amongst all India under 100 and had the audacity to give a lecture on essay writing. So I was like, wow, slow claps. Okay. It's like essay, how much has a student scored so far in last 10 years? 175 is what I know, highest in essay. uh, Students in the past have scored on an average, good students like who have been toppers have been able to score in 160s, 167, 161, 168, different years, different marks. Again, you can see any student who's thorough in essay, who's good in essay, on an average is able to make it above 150 on an average. Yeah. So anything above, I would say, going by what I'm seeing, the present trend pertaining to philosophical essays, on an average, getting anything above, because philosophical essay is now the context. So anything above 140 is good, 145 is very good, and 150 above, going by present situation, it's like great, great, excellent, 160 plus, 170 plus, rare, but achievable. But that is what the examiner can create. Going by the 10-year trend analysis, by what marks students have been getting, this is what you can understand. That means getting anything less than 140 is average. Average. See, in GS, the topper will be having 132. GS paper 1 or paper 2, 132, 135. Topper. So in GS, if someone is getting 125, it's like bravo, brilliant. In essay, if someone is getting 128 and saying, oh, I got 128, sorry, it's not good marks. It's average. Good marks, anything above 145 is what I would consider, is what the examiner is considering and creating. And a lot of people are getting that marks. So first you need to understand that. Why do you want to see toppers copy you? This is how she is writing or he is writing. Ma'am, like with multiple A's. Toppers copies you can find like online, so many copies, but not everything will be inspiring. because they are not experts of the discipline. They are not experts of, I would say, expression and writing. They are not, I mean, see, please try to understand. It's like a geographer teaching you geography, and a civil services aspirant who was an aspirant till last year, this year got cleared the exam. And like, let's say in geography portion, the person has got, like, let's say out of 80 marks, the person has got 42 or something like that. Okay, and finally in the final list, the person is there. Okay, like with, like, let's say in GS paper 1, the person, but GS paper 1 is comprising of history, art and culture, social issues and geography. But like, let's say, let's consider in paper 1, the child is having 128 or 132. Is this person an expert or a geographer an expert? Whom should you follow? A person who was a student just till last year and probably has been in preparation for 3 years, or a professor who has been teaching the portion, evaluating the portion at university level for more than 2 decades? Who should be followed? Expert. So get over the kiddish approach of following the aspirants blindly for the sake of content. They are as average as you. It's just that they develop a notch above possibility with regular practicing, with being more thorough. But when it comes to the world of wisdom, insight development, perspective, you will see that it is achievable for you. But it's not something like, wow, this is something which blinded my eyes because of the kind of wisdom that was pouring down. That won't be there, because there is a limitation with respect to reading, exposure, experiences, everything adds to it. Okay, so toppers can give you some sneak peek regarding what is good quality, but are they like establishing the standards of best? Not everyone. Okay, but what happens is, the moment you see, oh, all India X rank, Y rank, Z rank, you're like, oh, this is it. It's good, it's good, but can a better possibility be there? Means if someone is getting 154, then someone also gets 164. Someone is getting 164, someone is getting 174. So that's what the relativity. And the person who's marking 174 knows how the person would have given 178. So you have to follow the person who gives the marks, not the person who's getting marks. Okay, you should know how to follow and whom to follow. And everything that toppers do is not great. For example, I told you, flowcharts, maps, diagrams, just because toppers are making, so you get inspired to make it in essay, colossal mistake. See all the essay books available in the market, I mean, related to GRE, related to, we can say, other competitive exams where essay is there, school books related to essay writing, college books related to essay writing, none of them, from Indian level competition to international level competition, have a single diagram or flow chart. Are those people dumb? Are those writers of the book are dumb? Are they not capable of making flow charts and diagrams? They are. But why are they not making? What is the reason? The reason is it breaks the flow. It is not the demand of essay. Essay is a piece of literature. It is a piece of your interpretation and understanding and writing that has to make a sneak peek in the understanding of an examiner when we speak of it, right? So when we are talking about essay writing, please get over the idea that anything and everything that a topper is doing is the best thing to do. No, not really. If the content is really qualitatively good, and on the side, if a topper has made a like diagram, the examiner will not get offended, will not deduct marks, because the examiner is evaluating only the core content. So what is the reflection of the map? It's not necessary. If the language is haywire, if the language is grammatically improper, if the content is not powerful enough, even if diagrams and maps are made, marks will be cut. Okay, so the core aspiration, it is essay, mind it, a piece of literature. During school days, college days, whenever anyone got exposed to essay, what was said, the first sentence was said was, it is a piece of literature, it is a expression of your personality, it is a piece of your mindset. So that is what you have to focus on. What is the purpose of it? Through it, my bureaucratic personality is put to test. So how to write something which gives a positive understanding or experience related to my bureaucratic personality? That's what you need to develop. Getting it? All of you? So just because an X or Y or Z topper is making a flow chart or a diagram, I'm not the one who's going to endorse that. because none of the standard essays across the world, from school level to college level to postdoc level, ever suggest making a flowchart or a diagram. Okay, you're making it, good, go ahead. But is it something which is necessary? No. Is it going to add marks? No. It is the content, the flow of the content, the richness and abundance of the content that's going to bring about the change and the difference. All right. So I hope all of you are understanding that. Yes, very good, Nikhat. When you're saying that the topper's copy is setting the limits, we should learn how to cross the limits. So very true. And that's how someone got 175 beyond 167. When Ira Singhal in 2014, she got 167. Everyone was like, oh, it's 167, 167. Again, next year, someone got 172. Everyone, oh, 172, 172. Next year, again, someone got 175. That's how. You understand that, right? So that's what we can connect with when we are discussing about it. Getting a grip of newspaper editorials. Guest editorials. Guest editorials can enrich your content. They can enrich your content massively, associated with how to reflect upon a topic from multidimensional perspectives. Some guest editorial is not the editorial section, it's like next to it. So in the guest editorial, sometimes you will see subtopics are given. Sometimes you'll see subtitles are given, but they are thought-provoking subtitles. They're not written political, social, economic. No. They will be writing that the solution for the Middle East would probably be, and then underneath they'll be talking about the various dimensions, right? So when they are writing the articles, in the subtitle also there is a gist of the para, gist of the dimensions they are going to discuss. So there is a critical reflection to that subheading. And if that is done, it will add quality to your essay. If that is done, that will add virtuousness to your essay. All right. So when we are discussing about this given dimension, any newspaper is good, Gulam, any newspaper. So why everyone got close to 50% or little? Because people were not reflecting. People were not reflecting deeper, Syed. Because UPSC examiner is not someone out of the blue. Central University professors, professors of DU, JNU, BHU, Hyderabad University, all these people are requested by UPSC to evaluate the copy, to make the question paper, right? Few of them I have known, a couple of them, like from my past experience, a brief stint at university level, especially when we were designing the course of India and South Asia studies. So my senior, who was the dean of the course, he was an ex-UPSC member. So he had invited all kinds of intellectuals from India. I was the youngest, 32 people were there. And a few were also retired, like Professor Arun Kumar of JNU, and he had taught at Princeton for 10 years. So such, like I would say, scintillating intellectuals. Out of them, 4 of them claimed they evaluate UPSC papers. And sir got so angry. He's like, this was unnecessary information. Why is he declaring? Because sir knew that I was at that time freelancing in this coaching industry and I was teaching. So it's like, that was an unnecessary information. I was like, sir, you can just be confident about the fact that it will never slip out of my ecosystem. I'm not never going to discuss or like discuss this very possibility, who's who and which subject is created by whom or who is evaluating the copy. After retirement, few of these professors, they do declare in their closer coterie. Okay, that does happen. Like Majid Hussain sir, may God like let his soul rest in peace. He is no more alive. Majid Hussain sir in 2005-6 used to like create geography question paper. Okay, so and used to evaluate. So that was also there. One professor of anthropology, he used to do that from Lucknow University. He declared it to his students because Lucknow University students used to tease him a lot. So one day he got agitated. He said, do you even know that I make the anthro question paper? And after that, he was boycotted. The moment UPSC came to know 1 week before the exam, another professor was requested to create the question paper. All the question papers were scrapped out from all regional centers where it was sent for anthropology optional. Via air, the fresh question papers were sent and his contract was cancelled. That's the level of privacy that is maintained by UPSC. But who are these people who are evaluating the copies? University professors. At university level, they are encouraged to pass as many students as possible. So a student getting 42% can get 46%. But at this level, when they are evaluating the civil servants' copies, it is encouraged fail as many as possible. That's why with 52%, you become all India topper, because they are going strict, they are going merciless, they are going as like Puritan as possible, right? So remember, if you have been associated with a university and if you have been associated with a humanities course, recall the central university professors, the strict ones, the good ones, the internationally acknowledged ones, how they reward a good answer with 65 or 70% marks. But that's a rare thing getting from their pen. Getting 60% marks is possible. If it's a good answer, a fairly good answer, getting 55 or above is easy, right? If it's okay, 50 above. It's not that great or it's bad, less than 50. That's what they follow here also. It's just that here they will pay attention to every single word. They are paid for it. An earnest request is made by the secretary of UPSC, that all the professors who are called for evaluating the copy, that please see to it that not even a punctuation is evaluated incorrectly. A comma extra or a full stop extra can also alter the meaning. So see to it you take extra days if needed to evaluate the copies, but please do it so very diligently and carefully that let not an incorrect candidate, an inefficient or incompetent candidate get an advantage over another candidate just because like you went little lazy in evaluating, or you were not so focused while evaluating. So it's done very thoroughly, very rigorously. That's why I'm saying understand first the magnanimity of the exam, understand the, we can say, the level of the professors. And when you understand that, you know that which things will not look so polished, will not look so profound, will not look so formal. And that's why I said the best benchmark is NCERT Standard 12th. You see how they are written. The editorial, the guest editorial articles written in Indian Express or The Hindu, see the level. And that's the level that you have to aspire to achieve. Language needs to be formal, bureaucratic in nature. It does not need to be childlike, neither very flowery and poetic. Okay, so there has to be a balance related to this given subsegment when we are discussing about it. No, I am not an evaluator. If I would have been an evaluator, I would have not been teaching in this coaching industry, 100% sure. And it would have been complained and it would have been backfired. But before that, I myself would not have done anything so unethical. Okay, so that's what. But professors in the past whom I have come across professionally and even during my student days, I knew like few of them who were into evaluation of the copies, and I knew their level. So that's why I'm suggesting do not go easy on this given area, and don't consider that the benchmark set up by students who are getting selected is the best benchmark. That's good, that's decent, that's something. If you're struggling with language expression, consolidating it all, connecting one para with the another, you can get inspired by these students because they are a notch above you. But what is a notch which is even above them? See how NCERT, one para leads to other, another one to the other, how the flow is created, how the language is simple but formal, how the dimensions that are discussed are so rich, so exhaustive. So that's a simplistic, most simplistic way of inspiring you. So rather than purchasing a lot of books, it's better that the books that you have, start reading it from the eyes of an essay writing possibility, not just the eyes of, oh, these are the points, I have to make bullet point out of it, just memorize bullet point, squeeze the entire content out into bullet points or 1, 2, 3, 4 points. No, NCERT should also be read from essay perspective, right? So guest column means the idea pages. Yes, the idea pages. The idea page is associated with the people when they are writing that. Can any question like sentences be written or not? Can any questioning like sentences? I cannot understand the question itself. Can you just rephrase the question, Jasi? Please, what is the way to reach professor standard? And there's nothing like the way to reach professor standard. The way is to be thorough with the language of NCERT Standard 12th, and I said guest editorial articles. Okay, the articles which appear just next to the editorial page, which are based on opinions, which are based on, we can say, some critical reflections related to some contemporary issue. So follow that language, that expression, that insight. All right, now shall we just move ahead, further ahead? Most of the teachers said that they got tired by checking bundles of copies. If you wrote something unnecessary, they'll get angry. Well, no, not really, Syed. On an average, 8 to 10 copies is what they are able to evaluate in a day. And that is also too much when you are paying attention to every single word. And bundles of copies, no, on an average, a professor is given 100 to 150 copies, and on an average, the time period is given is 20 to 25 days. There have been times when they have requested for 5 or 10 more days, and that has been granted to them to evaluate the copies. That also has happened. And it's not only one person evaluating all the, like, copies, okay, because there is subjectivity. So to cut subjectivity, there are evaluators who are evaluated, and there is a team that evaluates the copy, because so many copies, that is, if 13,000 aspirants are appearing for the exam, or 10,000 are appearing for the exam, one single evaluator cannot evaluate. So there's a team that is functional. All right, now with respect to this, when we are further substantiating this, let us reflect how much time am I allocating for each of them, right? So last one, you can see it's already 2 minutes. With respect to the rest of them, let us reflect upon the breakup. So you tell me, out of 90 minutes, if 90 minutes is given to you, how much time would you take to write the formal essay? How much time will you take to write the formal essay? So far, suppose if you had to write an essay in 1.5 hours, how much time would you take to write the formal essay? Out of 90 minutes, yeah, out of 90 minutes, 1.5 hour, suppose 1.5 hours is there. So out of 1.5 hours, how much time would you take to write the fair or the final version? I'm not talking about rough copy, the final, fair one. Or how much time would you take to reflect upon the, we can consider, other areas? So now, after seeing the breakup, a lot of people are seeing, and they're like, there is so much of dimension: choosing the topic, idea generation, introduction, conclusion, revising. So everyone is thinking like quite a lot, right? So yeah, for one essay there is 90 minutes in toto. Those who are asking, is it 90 minutes? Yes. So 10 minutes to reflect. Some people are saying 10 to 15 minutes to reflect. Majority are saying 10 to 15 minutes. Few are saying 20 minutes. Few are also saying 30 minutes. Okay. So whatever is your truth with respect to this given area, let us reflect upon the dimension that I propose to all of you. Okay. So the dimension that I'm going to propose will be little more exhaustive. Initially, it can surprise you or startle you. How am I going to do it? And I'll be giving you the explanation, the logical explanation of dividing the time in this manner. Choosing the topic, when we are discussing about it, I'm going to give 3 minutes for it. There is a logical reason why 3 minutes and how the 3 minutes needs to be utilized. The details of it will be discussed by me. Idea generation, in toto, it is going to take 15 minutes. Conceptualizing the introduction, it can take 3 to 5 minutes to think about a tentative introduction. Again, a tentative conclusion can take 3 to 5 minutes. Organizing the content, minimum 7 minutes. That's also a very big push. So 7 to 10 minutes. This is the most strenuous area when a student is practicing. This is the area where actual breakthrough is needed. This fifth one. Writing the essay or writing the final draft of the essay. When we speak of this given subsegment, you all will be realizing that this area will require something around 50 minutes minimum. So 50 minutes to, we can consider on a high side, 54 minutes. But 50 minutes shall be sufficient on an average. Polishing the essay, 2 minutes. And then 2 minutes to calm down, relax and detach. I have not explained any of this. All these 8 areas need a definite explanation. Bit by bit by bit, the logic of each area and why the time has been allocated and what needs to be done in the given time period. is something which is the essence of this session. So we will be building upon it bit by bit. Let us take a break and be back. All right. So it is 6:44. Let's take a 15 minutes break. Okay. And let's, like, I'll be explaining the terms like surveer, polishing, and all these words which you are seeing. We will be explaining it. We will be understanding that just after the break. So let's be like back after it. So like, let's say 6:59. While just hold on. So with respect to this 50 to 55 minutes or 50 to 54 minutes, what I have written, I will justify it with respect to 50 minutes. All right. See, on an average, you are asked to like respond in 1000 to 1200 words. So I always propose, think that you have to write like 1100 words, because if you go little less, it will be still more than 1000. If you go little more, it will still be less than 1200. So let us derive 1100 words on an average is what you have to write. Okay. So when we have to discuss about the possibility of how much can be created, let us see it from the perspective of GS. In GS, a student is engaging with like we can consider 20 questions. So 20 questions are there, right? And there is 180 minutes, right? 180 minutes. That is 3 hours. You will invest at least 20 minutes to read, understand, interpret, and recall the content, right? So this is something which you will do at least 20 minutes for 20 questions, right? So 20 minutes is something that you will be needing with respect to recalling the content. So you will be left with 160 minutes to write, right? Now, with respect to the 20 questions, what is the word limit that is needed? So we all can see there are 10 questions which is of 150 words, and then there are 10 questions of 250 words. So you have to write like 1500 plus we can say 2500 words, right? So on an average, you have 4000 words to be written in 160 minutes, right? All of you can see this. So going by this specific logic, we all can understand that this will be 25, right? So 25 words per minute. Now there will be a possibility that you all can, going by this basic mathematics when we are talking about it, there will be a possibility that you don't know all questions of 10 markers and all questions of like 15 markers, right? So this is like 10 marker questions. These are 15 marker questions, which all of you know. So like 250 words, 15 markers, 10 questions, right? So the 10 markers and the 15 marker questions, you don't know all the answers. So there is a fair chance that rather than writing 4000 words, you may end up writing 3600 words or 3700 words, like some answer going insufficient, rather than 250 words, you know, just 150, like 170 or 180 words. For 150 word question, you know, 125 words or 100 words, all that will happen. At least to 3-4 questions, that is inevitable. So rather than considering it to be 4000, maybe it is 3600 or it is 3700 words that you would be writing within, like, let's say 16 minutes. That's going to be the final reality. So like rather 22 to 23 minutes, okay, is what would be needed, like according to me, that is something which you would be requiring. So 22 to 23 words per minute, okay, sorry. So 22 to 23 words per minute, that's the speed that you need, right? Going for GS, all the 4 papers GS, I hope all of you can connect with this. Now with respect to optional, when we are speaking of it, the same game. In optional, majority of the optionals, you can see question number 1, question number 5 are compulsory. There are 5 subparts associated with each. So it's like in total 10 questions with 150 words, right? So it is like a 1500 words that you have to write. Then there are like 3 questions that you have to choose. So like let's say question number 2, question number 3, and suppose question number 7 is what you have chosen. So it's like 20 20 10 20 20 10 20 20 10. So 20 20 10 multiplied by 3 such questions, right? So 20 marker is like, let's say, consider 300 words, and 10 marker is 150 words. So it's like 150 into 3 in that case. Okay, so 150 into 3, that is 450. So 450 words, and like 300 multiplied by 3, that is 900. Plus again, we can consider 900. So if I create a sum total of all of it, it will be like this entire bit will be 3750 words that you have to write in optional. Same question applies when we are speaking of it in optional. Also you have 180 minutes to write, out of which there are allowed 19 questions. So about, I'm considering majority of the optionals. So about 19 questions. You put a minus in terms of the same thing: read, understand, interpret, recall. So you're reading the question, you're trying to understand the question, like, we can consider also like interpreting the question, recalling the question. So like let us say 19 minutes subtracted. So you're again left with 161 minutes. So 161 minutes, 3750 words. So the same thing, around 20 to 23 words per minute, going by a speed of 22 to 23 words per minute. Let me take a lesser time, okay, not like 23 like words per minute, because for writing 23 words per minute you need to be faster, speedier. Let me reduce it 22 words per minute. So going by the speed of 22 words per minute speed, if you divide it, okay, so 22 words per minute speed, if I divide it, we all can see that this can come as 50. That's the logic. In 50 minutes, 1100 words can be created. If you're writing slightly above 1100, for that 3-4 minutes extra adage has been created for all of you. That's why 50 to 54 minutes. Got it? So I hope first and foremost, this is something which is like acceptable. 20 marker, 250 words, no, 20 markers in optional goes with 300 words, Divya, okay? So 20 markers in optional, it goes with like 300 words, not 250 words. Because in majority of the optionals, word limit is not mentioned, okay? 250 words is mentioned in GS for 15 marker. But in optional, you will see 10 marker questions, compulsory questions, word limit is mentioned, 150 words. For 20 markers, it's not written. Okay, so that's what. Anyway, and in GS, you don't get 20 marker questions, Divya, right? So when we are discussing about this giving dimension, sort of, well, word limit is generally not missed. That is something which you can probably think of in the primitive stage or present stage. As you mature in your preparation, you realize that word limit is not the prime concern. Prime concern is the content and the delivery. And once you develop the knack for content and delivery, automatically it just starts melting into the right set of words. Okay. So word limit will not be an issue. Now, so can we write any interrogative sentences? Yes, you can. There are spaces when we discuss about type of introduction, there I discuss about this given dimension, that how even raising questions can be a powerful type of introduction. All right. Now, so as we are discussing about it, first and foremost, all of you are able to understand this part, that how writing the final draft of an essay is possible in 50 minutes. So you don't need to lose your heart thinking that, oh my God, like it will be half an hour or so. And if I won't have started writing the essay, how fair or how justified would it be? Would I be able to complete the question paper? Will I be able to write my essay? Yes, you will. With this speed, I mean, 4 papers of GS and 2 papers of optional. 6 papers are training you to write in this speed. So why will it be that in 6 papers you will have a very good speed and in essay your speed will drop? Definitely not. First thing. Second thing, if you don't spend time in either of the above options, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what I am discussing, you will not be able to create a powerful essay. So you need to honor the steps, you need to follow the steps. Third thing, you need to understand what needs to be done in these steps from step 1 to step 5, why they are essential and why time needs to be devoted for them. That is also something which I need to substantiate. Sameen, as you are asking that can we write multiple quotes? Well, no, not necessary. Not necessary. Don't be under the pressure of memorizing a lot of quotes like your childhood days, where you had to write 2 or 3 quotations per page. There are 16 to 18 pages. You cannot memorize 32 or 50 quotes to be written. And quotations are borrowed ideas. If you remember the essence of the idea and you're writing it in your own words, that's also fine. 2 or 3 quotes are fine. On a high side, 5 to 6 quotes, not more than that. If someone is suffering from poor level of memory and cannot quote the quotation exactly, that's okay if you're writing it in your words or writing as popularly said, as it has been considered. That's also fine. What actually matters is the dimensions and the depth of the ideas that you open, the realms that you are able to discuss, right? Okay. So yes, it is valid, Yash. You will realize it by the time. It will be just 2 to 3 sessions only. You'll realize it bit by bit. I understand that you are able to connect with the first session very thoroughly, and then you are realizing that with so much of depth that is needed, will I be able to develop it in the requisite number of sessions? You will. You'll realize it as bit by bit I keep opening each and every segment with greater detail and thoroughness. Okay. So, how is it possible to write constantly for 50 to 54 minutes? That is possible, Dheeraj, because that's something which GS is supposed to train you with. Because in GS, if you are not writing with that speed, you will miss the bus. You will not be able to complete the paper. In fact, in GS, you have to write 4,000 words. So, 4,000 words, not even like we are not talking about 2,400 words, right? 4,000 words. And you just have minuscule windows of reflection. How will you finish a 4,000 word paper or a 3,700 word paper? You are going to finish it, right? So there'll be little windows of breathing and then reading question, recalling the content and that. That's why I say that students who are not into answer writing practice for GS or essay or optional are not fighting it fit. They are not preparing for mains exam so far. It is only the day you start writing answers, and when you're writing answers with stopwatch and back to back, not one answer, 10, 20 answers in one go, it's then that you realize the power of answer writing and how what toppers are writing is very average or it is okay, it's good, it's not exceptional. But creating that back to back answer after answer for 20 answers needs a level of maturity and understanding and a definite level of preparation, right? So in GS papers, all the words and grammatical error, no. In GS papers, grammatical errors are not really paid attention to. But who says that just by writing the GS papers, one gets selected? There is the role of grammar in essay as well as interview. So with a haywire grammar, a person will have very poor level of confidence in interview. Interview is 275 marks, essay is 250 marks. With 500 marks at stake, with poor levels of grammar, there will be a challenge. Another thing, why should in clerical exam SSC CGL students grammar is getting evaluated, so why should a clerk have a better language and grammatical expression than an IAS officer? Why shouldn't an IAS officer have a basic understanding of elementary level grammar? And why should an IAS officer have an advantage of writing haywire grammar? Payal. So 25 plus mock test, I can say essay is comparatively less time consuming. Yes, Nitesh, so very true. If you are able to understand the topic or the demand of the question, essay becomes less time consuming than the GS papers. Writing all the 20 answers of GS is really tedious. Only a student will feel confident that, oh, GS, I am still taking little breaks. In essay, I'm not getting break. 50 minutes I have to write non-stop. Well, dear, I mean, after writing GS paper, 3 hours back-breaking experience where you are not even able to lift your head, reading question, understanding it, immediately writing it, you understand that 50 minutes stamina, you already have it built in your system. So, on different topics, but in essay on, yes, the game is about that, but from multi-dimensional perspective. Anu, all right? Ma'am, break please. Oh, congratulations, Sejal. Welcome back. Where were you like few minutes back? Where did you disappear few minutes back? Because we have already taken the break. We took the break between 6:45 to 7. So welcome back. If you were closer to me, I would have, like, really given you a nice pat on your back for this bravery of writing, ma'am, break please, after disappearing yourself from the lecture for more than 15 minutes. So this is the smartness that we also gain after seeing such kind of questions, sensing who is doing what. Anyway, so no worries, Nitesh, you will be able to like gain a breakthrough as you finish this given subsegment. Now, before I move ahead with the first 5 points, which are the core of essay writing, let us focus on 7th and 8th, because once and for all, I'll discuss and be free from the 7th and 8th point. So first and foremost, when we are talking about the segment of polishing the essay, polishing is nothing but, like, reflecting upon what things can be fixed with respect to an essay. Like, for example, if someone is writing an essay, okay, so while writing the essay, a student can, like, relatively reflect upon the given dimension, that in the given essay, what is missing. Like, let's say, suppose a child is quickly running through the content, okay, so in the process of quickly running through the content, a child can notice that there is something associated with grammar or something associated with spellings which is not up to mark, okay, or maybe some important point is there which the examiner should pay attention to. So in that situation, the person can, like, reflect upon this given possibility that maybe while running through the, like, let's say you have written 16 pages or 18 pages, so just flipping through the pages, just seeing the page, just running through, scanning through keywords, and you're like, oh, is there any keyword which is important, and can the examiner like, or should the examiner pay more attention to it, so you can underline that word. Okay, so that's polishing, that is part of polishing. Suppose while running through, like, I'll tell you my example. I have a problem once in a while when I'm writing a mail very quickly, typing a mail very quickly, or writing something like to someone. Instead of writing your, Y-O-U-R, I have a tendency to write you. So Y-O-U, and like quickly I'll keep writing. When I'm revising the content, I say, oh, I have written you instead of your. But it is only when I revisit the content. So polishing is associated with all such silly mistakes you can have a tendency to do. Okay, so someone can flip with the, like, let's say, spellings, someone can flip with the grammar, someone can flip with the expression. Those things can be rectified in these 2 minutes, because you're not reading everything that you have written, you have thought of, you have designed. Okay, you are just, like, throwing a glance that if there is any correction, you can just fix it. And if there is any important idea which you want the examiner to read, like to pay attention to, you can underline. Suppose it's a quotation, you can underline. Suppose there is an important segment, a reflective segment, a core segment, you can underline. So that's what polishing. I hope polishing the essay is clear. Yeah, I hope everyone is understanding that. Niranjan, we will have a dedicated session related to vocabulary. It will be on third or fourth day. Okay. So that day I'll be discussing how to build upon your vocabulary bit by bit. Any student who's struggling with vocabulary or expression, and how day-to-day life sources can act as powerful sources for vocabulary fixing, and why it is important not only for essay, but it is very important for GS as well, optional as well. So we'll be discussing about that. Don't worry. All right, you just, like, wait for those sessions which will be having exclusive attention associated with, we can say, this given area, right? Now, so polishing the essay, all of you are understanding this. Now, with respect to the next segment, that is 2 minutes to calm down, relax, and detach, what do I imply to say? Okay, Shaimil, I'll take up your query once I explain this. All right, so this is something which you will be able to connect further when I'm discussing about this. So, in with respect to this 2 minutes to calm down, relax, and detach, this is actually a very essential exercise, according to me, which every student should take after completing the first essay. Has it ever happened to you that you have written 2 essays back to back at any age, any stage, and when you are writing the second essay, the details of the first essay revisits you? the topics or the dimensions of first essay, it starts haunting you. Oh, if you would have written this dimension, you would have got better marks. If this dimension would have been added, you would have got, like, this given possibility of this answer would have been better. So how about like putting an arrow, and after putting an arrow, then writing the content. So you go back to the essay, and after getting back to the essay, you put a ladder to it, and after putting a ladder, you like stuff in the example, the fact, the thing which you studied in a GS class. You have done that. I think majority of you have done that. Yeah, all right. So Montu, Mona Lisa, Nitesh, all of you are like Akanksha, Shweta, all of you are accepting that this situation has happened to all of you. This happens because of this. Let me share this with all of you, that whether it is a relationship or an essay, you need to learn how to detach. Every time you're attaching to anything, any work, any profession, any, we can say, human relation, any like assignment, not only it is essential to learn how to create the dimensions, how to create the depth, but it is also important for us to learn how to detach from it, how to dissociate from it. That's also an art. And those people who don't know, they suffer from the rigors of revisiting, like, a haunting experience and disturbing the present moment, the focus on the essay. Please remember, the first 2-3 pages are the most crucial ones for an essay. Let me give this as an example. Like, let's say, suppose you have been given an assignment to evaluate standard 10th students essay copies. Okay, 10th board. Suppose you have done graduation or you're about to complete graduation, so you're capable to evaluate standard 10th students copies, right? Or maybe, let me reduce, if you're in graduation still, let me make it standard 8th level students copies. All right. Now, 10th level is like board exam. For the students, like, oh my God, this is my board exam. First big exam of my life. But for you, it is just a copy. You have to evaluate it honestly and you'll be paid for it. So you are calculating number of copies with the amount of payment that would be given to you. Number of copies versus amount that would be paid, right? When we discuss about it. So with respect to this given area, when we are discussing about this given dimension, let us like reflect upon what possibilities can be created with respect to this given dimension, right? So with respect to this given area, let us again like reflect upon some core ideas or core possibilities, and we all can see that let us consider that a student is like writing the given essay, and in the process of writing the like first essay and then moving to the second essay, as the haunting experience or sensation is happening, same thing is happening to a standard 8th child as well. And the standard 8th child, when the child is doing that in the second essay or second answer, when you are evaluating in the first 2-3 pages, while you are evaluating the essay, can you sense the level of the child? Means, if the child is writing, like, let's say, 5 pages essay, by reading the first page or first 1.5 page, can you sense that this is a very brilliant essay, the child is promising, I'm expecting to read something great from this essay, or this is averagely okay essay, this is good, this is not so fair, this is so within 1.5 page, do you establish a benchmark for a child? Can you establish a benchmark for a child? like let's say a tentative benchmark by reading 1.5 page, that this is like the copy of a child who will be writing something like, because in the first page you can see the quality of ideas, quality of reflection, grammar, spellings, all of it is visible in 1.5 page. So you can you sense this given possibility that yes, this is something that the child will be like creating tentatively. I'm talking about standard 8th kids, standard 5th kids, you can do that. I mean, it may differ, because if you're in standard 11 yourself, then I won't say standard 10. Then I'll say standard 5. If you're yourself in graduation first year, I won't say standard 10th. I'll be like saying something like standard 5. But I think majority of you can establish a benchmark related to what is the potential that a student holds, right? We examiners can create the same benchmark after seeing your essay. If in the second essay, this is what you have done, that while writing the second essay, you are mentally revisiting the first one, You're running back to it, making ladders and writing facts of GS answers or other sources, and getting back to the second essay and again thinking, what was I thinking? Okay, let me continue again. That will create a problem. We will be able to sense it, that the flow is missing, the depth is missing, the inquiry is missing. Somewhere the flow is breaking, because the break that you experience is visible on the paper. This is what I want to inform you about. So that's why it is very important for all of you that when you are moving ahead of one essay or one content, it is important or it is essential to detach. Learn how to detach. How is it done? How is it this practice of detachment is done? See, first thing is calming down and relaxing. This is why this is important. See, every time you complete an essay, like let's say 2 essays you have to write, first essay is completed, first and foremost thank God or thank nature or thank any energy that has been supporting you for your journey so far, because no journey is exclusive and it is not something which is only because of some rational objective achievements that we are able to make it. There are several permutations, combinations which determine our journey. That, like this year only, I know 2 such students who did not have any idea about their optional. They chose optional, but they prepared barely 20% of the entire syllabus, and once the prelims result came, they're like, oh my god, now what to do? Someone gave my number, they called up, ma'am, what to do? I was like, now what should the person do? Because 80% of the content has not been read even once in life. No conceptual clarity, no base building. I asked, how about GS? In GS also, majority of the parts were done, but there were chunks that were left. So getting an opportunity to write mains is such a big thing. If you're unable to honor it, it's a very different thing. So it's very important for everyone to understand that how big it is to be able to write mains, and nature endowing and supporting you in your journey. I must have given this example to all of you, or probably we can give you, like I can give you this insight also. This is like this happened to one of my seniors. He was from Delhi University only, and Avnish, he teaches. He's an assistant professor. Maybe he might have been promoted, not in touch. So this fellow, in his mains, it was his last mains exam. Prior to that, he had appeared for interview, and prior to that, he had appeared for mains as well. 4 attempts. So second one he wrote mains, third one he appeared till interview, fourth the last attempt. And in this attempt, what happened to Avnish was that he, at night when he was going to appear for the mains exam. So first is the, that the this compulsory paper. After compulsory you have essay, then you have the GS paper. So on the day of GS paper, as it happens that you're too stressed 15 days before the exam, you're studying rhythmic way, you're studying, your sleep deficit is there. And then what happened was that compulsory paper, it relaxes you a bit. After writing essay, you relax a bit. So by the time the GS paper happened, what happened was that he put the alarm, he kept studying. After studying, he just slept off, and he did not pay attention that the phone was getting discharged. So the phone discharged, and he slept at 2 o'clock. The phone did not ring at 7 o'clock as he presumed it to be. The cook was supposed to come at 6 o'clock to fix the breakfast. The cook did not come because someone died in his family. So he tried to contact and inform him that, he's someone has died, but he could not reach out his number, and then he was also distracted in other things. He did not check out. His next door neighbors were preparing for the exam for next year. They had taken 1 year break. So they were studying till 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. They dozed off at that time. So no one could reach out to him, neither parents nor the cook, nothing could work out. And what happened is that when he got up in the morning, it was almost 8:45. And when he got up, he was all disheveled, that what has really happened, because 7 hours of sleep is what the body needs, and the body was not getting it for past 15 days. So at like 8:45 when he got up, it used to take like 40-45 minutes to reach the examination hall. Anyway, you'll get up, you'll at least brush, you'll pick the admit card, you'll run, you'll take some auto or something, a lot of logistic issues. So by the time he reached, it was 9:30, and he could not write the mains exam with the first GS paper. Okay. So that's why I'm saying that it is very important to honor the process of, I would say, uh, the process of unfolding of these exams and all the opportunities you get in life. A heart filled with gratitude is what is essential. When the heart is filled with gratitude, then what happens is your tendency to calm down is there. A tendency to bring closure is there. A tendency to relax is there. So once your first essay paper is done, just close your eyes. After closing your eyes, thank nature. Thank all the beauties of nature and all positive energies that have nurtured your journey so far. Okay, because a lot of energies contribute to the possibility we become. Our neighbors, friends, like, random strangers, people, when they are nice to us, we are in a good mood, we are positive, we are capable to perform. That's why it's very important to be in a surrounding which is nurturing and positive. Anyway, so as all those possibilities happened, and all these positivities started getting created for him, we all could see that what really articulated in his life and what really articulates in different aspirants' life. So what I will advise you is, first exercise a thank you note, a calm thank you note, that God thank you, or whoever you worship or respect. Just say thanks for giving me an opportunity to write this exam, to write all the pieces of wisdom I have learned over the years from different books, teachers, intellectuals, experiences in life, all of it consolidated together. I tried to give my best. Whatsoever has been expressed, thank you for it. And after that, just make your mind thoughtless, because you have to rewire your brain afresh for the next essay. So, how to go thoughtless? Take deep breath, a complete deep inhalation of oxygen. Hold the breath, focus only on the breath, the quality of oxygen, the way the oxygen is feeling in the lungs, and the way it is impacting the brain. Hold the breath for like 10-20 seconds, whatever you can hold, and then exhale. Again, like inhale, and after inhaling it from your nostrils, hold it for some time, exhale. Okay. Again, third, and that's it. After third time inhaling, holding it, exhaling, your heartbeat will be relatively calmer. Your sense of turbulence in your mind, what to write, what not to write, what is missing out, what's happening, all that will be cleansed. You'll be relatively calmer. You'll be relatively in a zero state. And then you start reflecting upon the second essay. That's why 2 minutes to calm down, relax, and detach is necessary. Detachment is very essential before creating a fresh attachment, because the haunting experience of the previous one can impact the second one. It can happen to relationships, it can happen to life, it can happen to multiple situations, which can be damaging or devastating. All right. So, this is what you need to understand. Yeah. There have been a lot of sad stories. I know many of you are like quite touched by what happened to him. But it's not just him. There was another student, I remember, in 2014 or 15. This boy, yeah, it was like 14, he was the student, 15, it happened to him. He like appeared for the interview, and he had to appear for the interview. And what happened was that he was getting malnourished, eating tiffin box, like tiffin. That's why many students who say that, ma'am, should we come to Delhi to prepare? I'm like, not necessary. Because nowadays there is boom of information, explosion of like all kinds of information. What you really need is critical analysis and right guidance how to go ahead with your preparation. So, that's not something which I always advise to students, because Delhi is not always conducive or friendly for everyone in terms of stay, food, people around you, the quality of air, everything for that matter. Anyway, so this student, he went for the interview, and before on the like way to the interview, he collapsed, he fainted. He was carried to the hospital. When he came back to his senses, he was disheveled to see that the interview timing was like gone, it was almost over. And then he was like, the reason was, when the doctor said you are so severely malnourished, anyone could understand that seeing your eyes, because in the eyes, the white area around the pupil, you can see, so that had like little spots of darkness, like gray spots were there. So doctor said it develops only when there is severe malnourishment. Do you take fruits and salads even if you are staying, living outside your home and having tiffin? He was like, no sir, just focused on my exam. He's like, but you have to balance all the energies. A person who cannot balance the body, balance the mind, how can the person balance the system? So that's why exercising is important, eating healthy is important, taking good care of your mental, emotional, and physical health is important. Because a person who can take care of one's own biome can take care of the larger system. You get such essays also. I'll show that. Okay. So I hope all of you are able to understand this, given possibilities related to 2 minutes to calm down, relax and detach. You should learn how to cool yourself off. You should learn how to, like, balance your energies as per the suitability of the preparation when we are talking about it. Okay. Now, so polishing, 2 minutes to calm down, relax and detach, this has been explained. Starting with the first one, choosing the topic. What needs to be done while choosing the topic? All right. So with respect to this, when we are discussing about it, ma'am, the first person, what is the first person? Bhavna, I cannot understand. So if you're asking what happened to the first person, he is an assistant professor. He is teaching and he's quite happy. Did he clear? That was the last attempt. So how would he clear? So detach, because if one paper, only one paper of any of the subjects is devastated, essay or GS or optional, anything, if it is devastated, devastated means if it goes zero, all other efforts cannot help you. Simple. Zero is too tremendous, There have been times when students have cleared the exam till interview. It is when the results are out, you realize that in one of the papers, this you can say candidate or yodha or Shurveer, this person got something as less as 66. But just because other papers were profound enough, so the person was pulled to the interview level. And in the interview, though marks were good, the person could not get selected because 66 or 52 or something like that in one of the papers is sufficient to rake a person and just give a massive jolt and not let the selection happen. Okay, so that's what. So you need a balance. You need a balance of all of it when we are talking about this. With respect to this, when we are moving ahead, let us first get introduced to the topics and then let us learn how to exercise choosing the topic. Choosing the topic, why 3 minutes and how 3 minutes. Okay. So, how the 3 minutes needs to be put to action, what are the steps of it, okay, with respect to getting introduced to the nature of the questions when we speak of it. So, see, don't lose your heart. Let me show you from the easier versions first and foremost. Okay. So, sorry. So, with respect to this, I will first show you the 2017 question paper. So, and from that 18 and then 19, bit by bit, you will see how it grows. So, this 2017 paper, it has a combination of possibilities. First one is a quote based question. Joy is the simplest form of gratitude. We were discussing about gratitude just few minutes back. So, joy is the simplest form of gratitude. When you are happy, when you are blissful, when you are happy from within at all times, it is the greatest form of thankfulness you exercise towards your parents, towards nature, towards all the energies and possibilities that have built upon you. And in that joyous state only you can take the right decisions, not harm others. You can stand for nature, you can stand for the larger environment, for other people. So joy is the simplest form of gratitude. In a joyous state, you can exercise this possibility of gratitude in multifarious ways. You can recall Krishna. So Krishna always had that smile, despite of all odds happening in his life. First losing his parents, then foster parents, then losing his city, his roots, losing his friends from childhood, losing his childhood beloved Radha, right? Then relocating to another city. Prior to that, there is this war associated with this Kurukshetra. So many things, all kinds of blames, schemings, possibilities, problems, yet the smile never left the face. This component of smile will come once again in 2022 question paper. Okay, we'll be seeing all that. 2021 mains also has something. So we'll be reflecting upon all of it. See this. So joy is the simplest form of gratitude. Fulfillment of new woman in India is a myth. I'll be discussing this topic later because we have debatable essays and stuff. We'll be coming to that. We must brave human laws but cannot resist natural laws. You can see there is a combination of human laws like constitution, polity, all the area, and natural laws is associated with nature. So balancing geography, environment with, we can consider polity, the wisdom. Social media is inherently a selfish medium. This topic also we'll be revisiting later. 2017 section A. Here I'm just making you accustomed to the topic. Okay, so just see the nature and see the shift, the paradigm shift that you are going to experience, and do not be let down by the possibility of the latest essays. That should encourage you to attend the sessions more sincerely and like profoundly, not missing out in between, the way it was experienced by me, when one of your friends, she just joined the session, she, he, whatever, so, and joined the session and then asked me for a break. After 15 minutes, I had taken the break. So I was like completely zapped for a moment. I was like, hey, break. So it was Sejal. So, and I was like, hey, break. I've just taken a break. So don't be irregular with the session. Be throughout, be present so that you do not miss out on any qualitative discussion, any chunk of qualitative discussion. Now here, you can see this. Farming has lost the ability to be a source of subsistence for majority of farmers in India. This is associated with agriculture. Impact of new economic measures on fiscal ties between union and state. So union-state relation along with economy clubbed together. Then we can see destiny of a nation is shaped in its classrooms. Education, once again. Has the non-aligned movement lost its relevance in a multipolar world? So it is associated with IR, as all of you can see this. 2018, section B, for the first time philosophical essays were introduced. Okay, so philosophical essays, the glimpse of it starts from here. And here you will find bit by bit how the ethics paper that has been taught to you is going to nourish the basic core. You can see customary morality cannot be a guide to like modern life. What is customary morality? The values, the ethos that we gain over the time period, civilizational ethos that we have. Okay, then it is saying cannot be a guide to modern life. We'll be discussing it when we'll be discussing philosophical essays. That day, an exhaustive 1.5 hour discussion on how philosophical essays are created, built, popular areas, interventions will be discussed. Then another 1.5 hour to 2 hours will be developed or will be devoted for content formation related to such topics, right? Okay. So just be thorough, Gulshera, as I had said that thus be thorough with GS. GS paper 4, be more thorough. Memorize, revise, write. We'll be talking about it because it seems, Gulshera, you were not uh, present from the beginning. Gul Sehra, as it is written. I'm sorry for the mispronunciation. So it seems you did not attend the session from the beginning because repetitively I have discussed the answers to the question you have raised. So please be more alert, attentive, like a civil servant, be disciplined and present at all times. Now, the past is a permanent dimension of human consciousness and values. You can again see value, consciousness. We have discussed all this in ethics paper. A people that values its privileges above its principles loses both. Okay, so is this term a people grammatically correct? Yes. If yes, then what does it mean? Values means gives importance to its privileges, okay, above its principles, ends up loses both. So what does it imply? Again, reality does not conform to the ideal but confirms it. Just exposed to these topics, get exposed to these topics and you will be able to understand, okay, um, how to build the content. We will be discussing about it because that's the purpose of the session. That's the purpose of the later day session. Right now, I have to discuss about approach. So how to choose a topic, I'll be discussing that after showing you, exposing the nature of topics to you. Section A was associated with combination of GS topics only, unlike section B, which was philosophical in nature. So alternative technology for climate change, you can see this is GS, resilient India. So climate change, resilient India. A good life is one inspired by love and guided by knowledge. This is a philosophical topic which all of you us can see. Poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity like everywhere. This is associated with GS, social issues. We can connect it, right? Again, it can be connected with IR also though. Management of Indian border disputes a complex task. So this is associated with, we can say, IR plus internal security, right? Then 2019. Again, one section for GS, one section for philosophical. So South Asian societies are woven not around the state, means polity is not keeping the societies together, but around plural culture and plural identities. So South Asian societies are built around their culture. They are created or they are formed as per their culture. The cultural unity or unison is bringing the societies together or keeping them intact. Again, Primary healthcare and education, you can see neglect to primary healthcare and education in India are reasons for its backwardness. This is also associated with social issues. If we see, education has been asked in 17, but you'll see the gradual shift from these topics. Okay, biased media was asked in 2017 as well. So you can see this. Rise of artificial intelligence, the threat of jobless future or better job opportunities through reskilling and upskilling. So this is something which I think it was asked in 2019, but it is as relevant even in 2023, even more relevant in 2023. So this is a very interesting statement. Section A, as we were discussing, philosophical essays is what dominated the game. So you can see wisdom finds truth. Values are not what humanity is, but what humanity ought to be. Best for an individual is not necessarily best for society. Courage to accept and dedication to improve are two keys to success. You can see this, right? Thought provoking. Courage, dedication to civil services values. Individual morality means best for an individual, your individual choice, your morality is not necessarily best for the society, may be in contradiction with societal values, societal ethos, right? We will be discussing about it. Bulsehra, the sources I will be discussing. Okay, don't worry, I'll be discussing the sources, because as the content discussion will happen, all of you will be realizing what are the actual sources. Right now, you don't know what is being asked. So, like discussing, oh, purchase this book. A book can have 200 essays, 500 essays, but examiner can ask 1200th topic. And you'd be like, oh, I read 500 essays and none of the essays were asked. Why? Why will the examiner ask a essay which can be directly content can be lifted from a book? Are you a school going child? It is your personality and your perception that is put to test through an essay. So the examiner will push you to the corner. Push you to the corner of discomfort and reflecting upon a topic and then writing something substantial related to it. Okay? Do questions repeat in essay? There is a world of wisdom out there, Niranjan. So why will UPSC have to repeat a topic? Repetition is like a space and scope for other areas, not here. Anyway, 2020, when we are discussing about it, you can see section B 2020, culture is what we are, civilization is what we have. Right? There can be no social justice without economic prosperity, but economic prosperity without social justice is meaningless. So social justice and economy clubbed together. Patriarchy, I've already discussed this topic very thoroughly, that what was the demand of the topic, so very different from what you were perceiving. Then technology is the silent factor in international relations. So technology and IR. 2020, section A. Life is a long journey between human being and being humane. Now this topic, life is a long journey between human being and being humane, is quite similar to the topic which was given over here. Values are not what humanity is, but what humanity ought to be. So what humanity is human being. And but what humanity ought to be is being humane. Okay, if you talk about the possibility of repetition, Niranjan, then this is the nature of repetition, which probably will be tough for a student to sense until and unless a person like me is teaching and is thorough with the topics year after year after year, so that you can trace that essence of this topic is similar to the essence of that topic on an average. Other than that, identifying the possibilities would be tough. Again, you can see this. Mindful manifesto is the catalyst to a tranquil self. Ships do not sink because of water around them. Ships sink because of water that gets into them. And then simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So 2020 marked a slight shift that section A will be dedicated to quote-based or philosophical essays. Section B will also have a language which is very twisted and which needs thorough interpretation, means understanding the topic in letter and spirit. Okay, both sections are different topics, but some relation between them. Can you sense any relation, Prerna? Because I can't. Because I am feeling every single topic is different with respect to even the subject and the concern that it is holding. One is technology and IR, second is patriarchy. Third is social justice and economic prosperity, fourth is culture. Okay, and when I'm connecting it with the next subsegment also, entire segment devoted for philosophical essays, and no rhyme and reason with the section A, right? What is compulsory paper for mains? That is English and vernacular language. So if you are from North India and you have had Hindi till standard 10th, then it will be Hindi. If it is any other language like Bengali, Gujarati, or like in southern India you have Malayalam, Telugu, Tamil, then in that situation, or in Northeast if you have Bodo, so in that situation you will be having the vernacular language papers, Chinu. Okay, getting back to this, we can see there is a shift from 2020 to 2021, a massive shift, which actually raked the insights of a student. Both the sections were quote based and philosophical, both. And now you can see how the questions are ripening. No more like 2017 and 18. See this, section A. The process of self discovery has now been technologically outsourced. Your perception of me is a reflection of you. My reaction to you is an awareness of me. Third, philosophy of wantlessness is utopian, while materialism is a chimera. Fourth, the real is rational and the rational is real. Section B. Hands that rocks the cradle rules the world. Quote paste. What is research but a blind date with knowledge? Next, history repeats itself, first as a tragedy, second as a farce. Next, there are better practices to best practices. So I hope, Prerna, you can sense that there is no relation, right? There are multiple such words, Sahil, that you will experience. In 2020 section A, fourth question, can we give example of Abdul Kalam, Sudha Murthy, multiple such content. Here, I'm not focusing on content, Santosh. I don't know how far you focused on section A and section B. This is what I wanted to create. See the quantum shift. See the quantum shift of nature of questions in essay, and how far I will be taking you by the sixth session. Only if you are disciplined, present from the very first minute of the session to 8:30 p.m. and you are giving in your best, all the homework, all the sources, all the methods I'm teaching you to put to exercise, you are ready to work. Then in 6 sessions, you will see the quantum shift of what you had and what you have to approach to, right? Towards the beginning of the session only, I showed you how your capability to interpret a question is so poor. You don't pay attention to the entire question. You choose words, patriarchy, social inequality. It is only when I made you delve deep upon the topic that you realized, oh, you are having a flimsy understanding of the topic. The tendency to interpret a question is not so profound per se, right? Now, with respect to this, when we are speaking of this, see 2020 question. Section A. Forests are the best case studies for economic excellence. Many people ended up writing on this topic, forest and geography, and how forests are creating economic prosperity. That was not the question. The question is not how forests lead to economic excellence. By now, as I told you, to understand a topic in letter and spirit in the first half of the session, by now I believe all of you are also paying attention to this. Are the best case studies. What is a case study? What is the purpose of a case study? What does a case study do? A case study gives us a symbolic message. After reading or observing or doing a case study, we arrive at conclusions, conclusions which we can put or apply in other situations. That is a case study, the purpose of a case study. So when we are studying forests, we are learning certain messages, and those messages, if used in the economic domain of our life, economic excellence shall unfold. That's what is the demand of the topic. So lessons of a forest, lessons after observing, studying a forest, what are the lessons we are learning from forests, and how those lessons can be put in our economic domain of life to bring in economic excellence, right? The question is not about economic excellence, how economic excellence comes, what other sectors lead to economic excellence, all that garbage, no. Message of forest. When you go to a forest, diversity, from a little sapling to a huge tree, diversity. Similarly, in an economy, you need a informal sector player, you need an MSME. At the same time, you need a multinational corporation. Both, the interest of both should be nurtured and protected. The way the sun is protecting all, the way the earth is nurturing all. An economy becomes robust and resilient only when it is having the beauty or the magnanimity or the diversity of a forest. Anyway, many, much more segments we can see with respect to this given idea, right? These are not jargons, Saqib. These are not jargons. You don't know the meaning of jargons then. Yes, forest teaches us survival of the fittest at the same time. And survival doesn't mean strong. Survival means adaptable. Survival means one who's ready to be flexible, adapt, right? So that's what. So when we are speaking of it, okay, and understanding these words, again, see this, poets are the unacknowledged legislators of the world. History is a series of victories won by the scientific man over the romantic man. I'll explain all of it the day I'm discussing philosophical essays. I will explain all these topics and create much more. How to build the content for philosophical essay, but step by step. You can first see this given dimension of first getting introduced to the level of the exam, so that when I teach, you are as attentive as it is needed to be. No more like possibilities of kiddish diversions, distractions, honoring the session. That's what is needed. History is a series of victories won by the scientific man over the romantic man. Again, a ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ship is for. See this? Section B. The time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining. Sixth, you cannot step twice in the same river. Then, a smile is the chosen vehicle for all ambiguities. So, this is what I said, Krishna. Remember? A smile is the chosen vehicle for all ambiguities in your life, and you're still smiling. The smile is not a cackle or a laughter of a joker. It is something which is like, creating a joyous or a blissful state or a state of equanimity or Buddha's middle path. It's not a laughter, it's not sorrow, it's a smile. So maintaining the balance, the equanimity, come what may, all ambiguities handled with that given possibility. Anyway, so just because you have a choice, it does not mean that any of them has to be right. Right? So, like, let's say a child is exposed to a criminal environment and the child has choice to become any kind of criminal. It does not mean just because the child had a lot of choices, all choices were correct or profound. Right? Anyway, so all of you are able to understand this. This language needs interpretation. This language is not like using science or sociology or philosophy words, which needs a technical understanding of the meaning. There are no technical words. It is the powerful interpretation, the tendency to understand every single word and the spirit behind the word and understanding the wholesome meaning. It is that that's going to create a breakthrough, right? So, when we are talking about this given segment, I hope that now when I'm discussing, all of you to pay attention to every single segment that will have a profound impact, and you'll pay greater attention to every single segment that I would be explaining, right? So first I explained to understand a topic in letter and spirit. Then it is important to generate abundant ideas. So to understand a topic in letter and spirit, how to choose a topic, this is what I'll discuss. To generate like abundant ideas, I'll be discussing this through, we can consider idea generation, that is brainstorming, brain mapping, conceptualizing the introduction, conceptualizing the conclusion. Then organizing the content plus language is something which we'll be discussing. And that is how we'll be building our essay, the final draft of the essay. Okay. So the diagram which is given over here, is it completely in consonance with this that we have. So let us start with choosing a topic. How are we supposed to choose a topic? I hope now you will be like reflecting like upon the possibility of learning at a more in-depth level, as I would be suggesting and substantiating the content for all of you, right? So as we are going ahead with choosing the topic, what needs to be followed while choosing the topic, right? I appreciate, Devansh, that you are able to understand that how these essays are trying to strengthen or deepen the intellectual roots of your mind, and it is actually putting it to test that how deep you are as a person, how rich you are as a person, emotionally, intellectually, and how far you have experienced life, how far you have observed life through books, through real life experiences, yours or others. Okay. So that is something that is put to test when we speak of it. Anyway, I appreciate that you could connect with that. Now, choosing a topic. How do we choose a topic? There are specific steps which I'll first explain, then I'll show it in application. In application, how is it done? Okay. Now, so choosing a topic, first and foremost, do remember that do not start with choosing, sorry, do not start with choosing, rather start with the elimination process. Start with the elimination process. Okay. Second, after this, you have to like pay attention to the segment that if there is conflict of choice between two topics, then because there is a sense of comfort in both the topics, suppose there can be a possibility you know two topics very thoroughly, you are very thorough with the topics. So I'm saying that start with elimination. What does it mean that start with elimination? So see that what you don't know about the topic. For this elimination round, I'll say brain mapping, which I'll be discussing later. This will be helping you to identify how to eliminate what is unnecessary, what is not required. Okay. So the brain mapping segment is really going to enrich this given possibility of how to eliminate what is not required or what is unnecessary, because or what you don't know about a topic. Because when I'll be sharing the brain mapping sheet, I'll be drawing the brain mapping sheet for all of you. By seeing the brain mapping sheet, you will be able to identify what you know about a topic and what you don't know. Your tendency to segregate the information regarding what you know and what you don't know can be created. Okay, so when we are speaking of this given dimension, that when you are starting with a topic, do like when you are choosing, when you are trying to select a topic, do not start with choosing or picking a topic. Go ahead with the process of elimination. Ask yourself that what can be left, what is the segment which I don't know, how many segments do I don't know, and then compare the topics. That okay, in this topic I really don't know 7 segments, in this one I don't know 5 segments. Okay, fine, leave this. 5 segments here, 4 segments, now this is quite close. So which one to pick, which one, because I'm having a sense of comfort in both. If there is a conflict of choice between two topics, then ask yourself, in which topic there is a higher level of connectivity, in which topic there is higher level of connectivity, okay, an in-depth level of connectivity, higher level of connectivity, better understanding, and is closer to the heart, closer to the heart. Okay. The one with the above qualities, the one with the above qualities, the one with the above qualities has the power of creativity, has the power of creativity. How do we become creative in our essay? We become creative only when we understand a topic. We become creative only when we are able to, like, bring depth and dimensions in a topic. So that's why it's very important for all of us to understand this given subsegment. This power of creativity, please do remember, the power of creativity comes with this. Okay. With this, what means, when you have a sense of connectivity, understanding, and it is closer to your heart. It is then that you can become creative in a topic. It is then that you can create some out of box ideas, some powerful suggestions, some in depth reflection, some powerful insights in a given topic. So that's why this is something which all of you need to understand. Third, after this, what you need to do is um, be aware of the potential biases. Okay, the potential biases you may suffer from, you may suffer from while reflecting upon the content, reflecting upon the content. Then, after choosing the topic, memorize it, memorize it word by word, word by word. Here, including the punctuation marks, including the punctuation marks. Okay. And then, last but not the least, I'll explain point number 3, 4, and 5. Initially, the process may seem to be mechanical, may seem to be mechanical. But with several repetitions, the topic becomes clear in letter and spirit. Okay. I hope all of you are getting an idea. See, so what does this given subsegment mean? Be aware of the potential biases you may suffer from while reflecting upon the content. Suppose, I mean, this in fact happened to one of the candidates, the 2014 topper, Ira Singhal, who, like, she got 167 in essay. So in 2010 also she had got selected. She got into revenue services. But in the process of getting selected in revenue services, this actually happened to her, that she lost this balance. So the moment she was choosing the topic, so while choosing the topic, she got this given topic that this was a very interesting thing that happened to her, that history geography may remain the same, history need not. So the moment she saw this topic, geography may remain the same, history need not. Okay, she got alert. She was like, oh, geography, I have geography optional. So geography optional along with PubAd, these were her two options. She said, geography, I really know, I really understand. The topic is also the same. Geography may remain the same, history need not. I can give so much of content how geography may remain the same. So she was so titillated, she was so enthused seeing the topic. See, she like created the draft and then she created the content, she wrote it. She was so confident. When she came out of the examination hall, she was hoping the best marks. It was after 2-3 days that it dawned upon her that the balance has been missed. Geography may remain the same has been written in 8 pages. History need not has been written in 4 pages. So the balance is lopsided. So the moment you choose a topic, the moment you identify your topic, the possibility can be there that after seeing the topic itself, you can understand when the balance is there or imbalance is occurring when we speak of it. So the moment you see a topic, you can always sense, like for example, patriarchy. And if you have been raised in a patriarchal environment, you have to be very careful that how your examples or your insights may not carry subtle biases. If you have been raised in an environment which is communally charged up, you have to be careful how your statements have to be your examples have to be very profound so that no bias is visible. Because one statement, one incorrect example, one imbalanced theory or insight, and it blows up the entire content. It creates such a massively negative reflection. Anything going against the constitutional value, anything going against the larger human values, it can blow up the content. Okay, so with respect to this given dimension, okay, glad to know that, Sakshi, that you have always used these methods in the exam. Okay, so subtly, SUBT, okay, LE, subtle means something which is not so clear, something which is in the form of a hint. Okay, Sakib? So one teacher advised picking one topic of essay of optional disadvantage to mind. No, Sachin, it's not so. If your optional subject is associated with the essay topic, okay, it is not going to blow up till the time you are alert not to bring in the thinkers and theories of your optional paper. I mean, if a topic is associated with, like, let's say, a quotation which a student has studied as political science optional student, or as philosophy optional student, or as sociology optional student, it means that you don't have to write from that thinker's perspective or that idea which you have studied in your optional, but you can incorporate a para. There's no harm in it. So you are getting an advantage of one para information or one dimension of the information. The problem happens is that people start writing entire essay from that thinker's perspective or that optional perspective. That is damaging, because essay has to be multidimensional, like spherical reflection, 360-degree reflection of that topic. A wholesome 360-degree spin of that topic is what is needed. If someone is not making that 360-degree spin, the problem shall happen. Okay. Kapil, revisit the session. I've discussed what is the best score and which score I've even fragmented, how much with what. So your questions always hyphenate who is doing what, how many paras. Again, I'll discuss it later. Kapil, please be present. Don't like join the session out of the blue. Please be present from the beginning of the session. These sessions are meant for you. And it also implies you have not seen the question. If you see the 2022 question paper of essay, it will, I think, bring you to the correct alignment of your preparation and make you more attentive in being there from the very first minute of the session. Ships do not sink. Can we connect it with recent politics? Multiple segments, Umera. But good, you have started thinking. While writing an essay, is it better to go while with the given criticized question, or better to stay neutral? Oh, you can always question and debate if the topic is losing neutrality, losing the balance. That's there. Okay. So, all right. Now, when will we get our study material? That's like management related question. So 360 degree spin, Saqib, I'll be discussing when I'm discussing brainstorming and brain mapping, especially brain mapping. 360-degree spin. I'll be drawing a diagram and I'll be discussing the various subsegments, how it is built. So I mean, this is important, what I'm discussing, Yash. So if you have been throughout, please just continue. Okay, that's what is needed. So how to maintain that unbiased possibility? Don't write anything against the constitution, larger human values, and you will not be biased. Anything which you don't want should happen to you should not happen to others. And that is the most balanced way to maintain neutrality, Sahil, right? Okay. So with respect to this given subsegment, how many essays to practice? First, understand the basic approaches, Grishma. Once you understand the approach, then start with one essay at least per week. Okay. Now, with respect to this, please understand there's something very important which I want to bring to your notice. Okay. So after choosing the topic, what am I saying? I'm saying that please memorize it word by word, including the punctuation marks. Initially, it might seem to be little mechanical, but with several repetitions, the topic opens. Okay, it becomes clear in letter and spirit. It opens, the topic blooms in letter and spirit. See how? I'll show you the example. We were discussing about this given topic, which was from 2020, right? This one. Patriarchy is the least noticed yet the most significant structure of social inequality. If you would have memorized it multiple number of times, okay, patriarchy is the least noticed yet the most significant structure of social inequality. Patriarchy is the least noticed yet the most significant structure of social inequality. Again, patriarchy is the least noticed yet the most significant structure of social inequality. When you would have repeated it multiple times, you won't have only paid attention to patriarchy and social inequality as everyone did. Not one student in the class could come up with the correct explanation. The reason was you were not paying attention to every single word. Memorize the topic. Choose the topic you choose, just memorize it. Memorize it, by heart it. When you memorize, you pay attention to every word. So you run through every word. I'll show it with a different color pen so that everyone can reflect upon it. Wait, I'll just show, because I've explained this, so I can erase it. Henceforth, I'm just erasing and going to show you the given possibility and then a fresh topic that we'll be dealing with. All of you will be dealing with and finding out the answer associated with the same. So let us say this is the given topic, all right? And in this given topic, suppose let us reflect upon the possibilities related to this one. So patriarchy is the least noticed yet the most significant structure of social inequality. First reading. Then you are seeing patriarchy. Patri, father's, archy, authority. So father's authority is present tense. Least noticed, least noticed. Yet contradiction, opposition. Least है लेकिन आगे कुछ और होगा. Because the moment we say yet creates a contradiction. Yet, but, nevertheless, whereas, instead of, in spite, despite of, however, all these words will create contradiction. So patriarchy is least noticed, yet something ulta will happen, something opposite will happen, something anomalous will happen. Okay, yet the most significant structure of social inequality. Patriarchy least noticed, yet the most significant structure of social inequality. Patriarchy is referred as a structure of social inequality. But it is said that it is most significant, least noticed. So what is a structure of social inequality? What do we understand by the term structure of social inequality? So structure of social inequality is based on various forms of inequality on different parameters or basis. That's how you could have thought. Memorizing the topic in letter and spirit helps. See this example. Now, all of you will be dealing with it. See this given topic, the second one. Mindful manifesto is the catalyst to a tranquil self. Memorize it, all of you. Just memorize it. Take your 10-20 seconds, memorize it thoroughly. Mindful manifesto is the catalyst to a tranquil self. Mindful manifesto is the catalyst to tranquil self. Okay, mindful manifesto is the catalyst to tranquil self. Now you're getting easy. You're getting familiar with the words. Mindful manifesto is the catalyst to a tranquil self. Again, mindful, what is mindfulness? Have we studied mindfulness ever in ethics class? Was this taught? Mindful, being mindful. What is mindful? Okay. So now all of you are saying that mindful is conscious. Mindful is alert. Mindful is being present, right? Mindful is being aware. Mindful is being attentive. Very good. So all of you are now able to connect with the word mindful, right? Okay, so precautious, rationally and purposefully. All right, very good. Now comes the word manifesto. Have you heard the word manifesto ever in your life? Election manifesto? Political parties manifesto? Okay, very good. So it is like a promise. It is like a plan. Okay, fine. So promise, a plan, right? Okay. So conscious planning, consciously creating a manifesto, consciously planning something is the catalyst. Have you heard the term catalyst ever in your life, people? Catalyst, chemistry. Okay, something which is giving a boost, something which is like facilitating, something which is giving an impetus, something which is speeding up. Okay, so speed up. Very good. It is a reacting agent. All right. It is speeding up, increasing the rate of reaction. All right. So we can say the reaction is going up. The rate of reaction goes up. Catalyst. Conscious planning boosts the possibility of a tranquil self. Self, existence, identity. Tranquil. Tranquil. Does anyone know? Okay. Very good. Few of you know. Peaceful, calm. Okay. Calm, restful, peaceful. Very good. I appreciate. Now see this topic once again. Mindful manifesto is the catalyst to a tranquil self. Revisit it. Tranquil is not dormant. Dormant is as if the fire is within and one day it will just erupt like a volcano. So Sachin, dormant will not be a correct word. Okay. Tranquil is actually associated with calm, restful and peaceful. Okay. Now, so mindful consciously when we plan. So whenever we plan consciously, it can act as a booster. It can speed up the possibility of we living peacefully. Now this self can be at different levels. It can be an individual, right? So how careful planning in your life. For example, if you have a plan till December which subjects should be completed, how mains topics should be prioritized like essay, ethics, like disaster management, like governance, like topics associated with maybe some topics associated with science and technology, right? So topics which have nothing to do with mains, with prelims. If you complete all of it and optional subject, of course, if you complete it by December, then anyway you have to study polity, history, geography, economy for prelims as well. And prelims nowadays is not asking in isolation. It is not a hardcore prelims factual question. There is critical analysis and reflection of mains laced in the prelims question as well. So probably focusing on areas of polity, history, geography, environment, the component of economy, it has to be done later as well. So right now, if a basic brush up and an overview is done, and then we are again revisiting and preparing it more thoroughly, January onwards as well, that will be a much better approach. So careful planning, a mindful, conscious, alert planning. What should be done till December? In how many days, which subject should be completed? What is my planner, my daily planner, weekly planner, like fortnightly planner, monthly planner, all right, and 6 monthly planner. So if there is a conscious planning, that will be a catalyst, that will be a booster, that will be a facilitator to a peaceful self, a calm self. You will do today's target, you will complete today's target. You know that if you keep being diligent and honest with your daily targets, you will be able to reach the goal you have designed for yourself in December. And when you are reaching it in December, then what you have to do in January or February? Simple. Segmentally, you will be able to understand. That is yourself. So you'll eat peacefully and sleep at night peacefully, not lose your sleep. So much has to be studied. I'm unable to revise. I'm unable to do this. This happens only when a person is lacking poor planning of revision, poor planning